Jurassic Park is like, well, you can't sell something with the Jurassic Park name because it's our name. You can't have it.
Well, you could do T-shirts limited ways. Like you could do like basic paraphernalia with not homemade, but home known names. So Star Wars, you could easily make a Star Wars T-shirt.
This reminds me actually. I don't know if you guys ever heard about this. I brought this up during LiteratureDevil's Morning Nonsense. There's a TV show on Netflix that's it's Jurassic Park. Well, it's based in the Jurassic World universe. It takes place before, during, and after the first movie, the first Jurassic World movie. Excuse me. And it's like a kids show, and it's like it's a group of teenagers that are on the island, and they have to deal with like the events of like the first Jurassic World movie. Well, there's a scene where a kid sneaking out at night to go see dinosaurs. He gets caught by one of the other teens. They get into a fight. And then you hear like a girl who's a YouTuber. That's her only trait, by the way. You hear her from off screen say, "Oh, so this is what toxic masculinity looks like." And I was just like, oh boy, and this is the first episode.
Oh my goodness, when was this?
It came out, I think in September. It's called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. And it's a cartoon, and it's a cartoon, and it's stupid. I mean, all the characters are really stupid.
Oh, dear. Okay. Well, let's get started, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Smudcast, number 115. We are doing What Even Is Masculinity According to Cinema. And if you don't know the person we're covering, he is referred to as coldcrashpictures. You might remember him from our previous Smudcast, number 68, which broke our stream. And then we had to do 68A, which was the title Saurian Cinema, Gender, and Jurassic Park. That was a very interesting video about his, not his interpretation, but someone else's interpretation of Jurassic Park and seeing it through the lens of a trans person or trans creature narrative, which we still haven't quite recovered or understood yet. It's kind of a strange, bizarre. I think one of our craziest streams. I think that we were just off the laughing our ass off. What the hell this guy was talking about? So the way it works though is he isn't actually holding that opinion unless he says so. He references another thing. So in that case, it was a book that someone reviewed and wrote a book about the review of Jurassic Park. And this one, it's the case of looking at variety of shows and movies, talking about how masculinity is depicted, and that's great. I think that's a good way of showcasing stuff. You're being objective. You're not actually holding the opinion. You're just reporting the evidence and talking about it. So, fantastic stuff. Good technique. I don't know if he actually believes these things, but it's always fun to go through, and that's why I have Shiny and BB with us. Maybe we'll get some more people later. I don't know, but it's 24 minutes and a half, so going to be here for a while. We should get started. Okay, so anyone doesn't know, dysphoria, dysmorphia, and gun violence. Dysphoria is when you're not really happy with, you're anxious, you're not satisfied at work or your life. Dysmorphia is when you're sort of, obsessed with the way you look or the way something looks. And gun violence is when you have guns and you beat people over the head with them. So, there we go. Because we don't use guns in Canada.
Oh, you just throw hockey pucks.
Well, yeah, those are bullets to us, yeah.
Pretty much.
See, this is getting a little silly. I don't know if it's a joke or he's just literally being literal and saying, hey guys, I'm making a video that has stuff in it. I don't want you to get triggered. Okay, magical trigger. Talking about people being assessed how they look. It's yeah, that's real exciting.
Oh man, I'm real proud of my manhood.
What is masculinity? What does it mean to be masculine? Is it Strength, courage, self-reliance, being a good leader, staying cool and calm under pressure,
My hand does not shake.
suppressing all emotions except your righteous anger, sexual aggression, divorced or at least distanced from emotional intimacy,
Look, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I forgot you're here.
having a high tolerance for alcohol,
I can't get drunk.
for pain, making more money than your wife, shoulders twice as wide as your hips, 3 times as wide as your hips, looking cool in a leather jacket. You think I
Message coming
jest,
in.
but I know I went through a leather
Patching it
jacket
through.
phase back in high school. In fact, over the years, I myself have tried cultivating several traits on this list in an effort to achieve societal acceptance and self-satisfaction. I'm not trying to
Societal acceptance.
I wanted society to accept
There
me.
was so much in that intro to unpack. You know?
Lots of references, but the fact that he wants society to accept his masculinity, whatever the devil that means, and how he achieves that, I don't like. Who goes into the gym going, "Oh yeah, society is going to accept me, man"? Yeah, like no one.
Crazy people do that. Crazy people think that way.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dress up as Doctor Who, and maybe people will like me. I'm going to dress up as Indiana Jones. Maybe that way I'll finally have some friends.
I think
Yeah, and then people will say, the convention is down the street over there.
just do what you like doing. If you want to be healthy and look good, that's great. That's always a good idea in life. But why societal acceptance? I don't know this term and how it relates to being a guy. I just whatever. Be clean. Don't look like a bum when you walk down the street. Don't piss people off. Don't bump into them. You know, that's societal acceptance. Okay, follow the rules.
What he's saying is that he tried to be more like people he saw in films. I think that's more of a him problem than a problem anyone else is having.
That's one of those people who are like, is video games teaching me to kill people when I shoot so many people in the game? It's like he's thinking about that. It's like, dude, no, you're fine. Relax. Oh. Joe Crazy. Sup guys, just got on. What brain-melting waste of time are y'all subjecting yourselves to today? It's this overly sensitive feminist dude who just wants to talk about not feminism, which is always good. So
them all necessarily. I'm just trying to understand how they fit into our modern notion of what it means to be masculine. Why these traits? Which ones are biologically innate? Which are simply perpetuated by society? Which of them are harmful and which are beneficial? Who can we credit for the perseverance? Who is to blame for their propagation? And if you're wondering why a YouTube channel that's ostensibly about film is asking all these questions, I'd say it's because a large part of our modern notion of masculinity comes from cinema.
It's so much nicer this way, so much more masculine.
Throughout the life of this channel, I've made several videos about feminism, and while they all tend to address some prominent anti-feminist talking points, I'd be lying if I said that any of them were constructed with a specifically anti-feminist audience in mind. I usually present my beliefs right up front, and then kind of work my way backwards to try and show you how I got there. But I wonder if that might leave some viewers with the impression that I decided on my beliefs before I looked at the evidence. And that's simply not true. So today I'd like to try something different. I'd like to start by asking some foundational question. A question that everybody with a vested interest in this debate might be inclined to ask. Then work my way forwards to try and reach some tenable conclusions. And because this is ostensibly a YouTube channel about movies, I'd like to use cinema to illustrate my points. One of the root issues, as far as I'm concerned, is what I asked earlier. What even is masculinity? What does it mean to be?
And he's only going to use Chiwetel Ejiofor movies as his examples.
Sorry, who's that?
He's only going to use Chiwetel Ejiofor movies as his examples throughout this review.
I'm not familiar with that person. I have no idea.
He is, if you've seen Firefly, 12 Years a Slave, he's also in, he's a very, very good black actor. We'll see him in a minute, but maybe you'll recognize him by his face as opposed to his name.
Was he the assassin in Serenity, the Firefly movie?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about then. Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies. He's a great actor.
Yeah. Like he rightly earned an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. Which I'm like, good on you, mate. But,
yeah, good for him.
Sorry to pause it so
What does it mean to be masculine? Now, I'm not here to gatekeep. I'm not trying to exclude femininity or non-binary identities from the debate.
Femininity or not?
Dude, make a video about one topic, okay, and focus on. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about feminism right now. It's like, what? Why did you bring that up? Like, dude, just focus.
Sorry, I'm not talking about femininity in films. I'm just gonna have to just say sorry for that.
That'll be his next video.
Is he going to apologize to all the men out there? I'm sorry about not talking about masculinity in this feminine film. It's like, okay. Why?
Okay, man, Glib left.
Aww.
It was like,
Yeah, I think it's weird that he's trying to look at these characters that way because often, you can have characters which are going to be flawed and they're supposed to be flawed because, a good character will often have flaws. And what the hell just happened? Who's sharing the screen?
Someone's sharing a screen?
Oh. Well, someone's sharing the screen for a second, but it's gone.
Oh.
Hello.
Yep, Glib.
Yep.
Hi.
Glib's back.
Hey, Glib, how you doing?
Good. Sorry, I had the wrong ASIO driver for audio. So if you have ASIO for all, then only one device will work at a time. And so I couldn't hear you guys. So I popped in and out.
I gotcha.
That's the reason.
No problem.
I heard
And
masculinity
then
and I
took it all
came
down.
ranting. I came ranting.
This guy's like apologizing. He's not doing a video or talking about femininity in his video about masculinity. It's like, dude, I don't like. Why would you bring that up?
Sorry that I'm not talking about being a woman.
Oh dear.
so unless he's like, I imagine like he
Message
doesn't
coming in.
like people just like, mostly it's just women who talk about that. He's kind of that one of those people that's be like, if you're not a woman, don't talk about certain subjects. If you're not a black person, don't talk about certain subjects.
I kind of get the feeling from him just looking at him.
Yeah.
Here's Joe Crazy.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Sorry for not talking about tacos in a video about hot dogs. I know. It's like, what are you doing? Like, wait, stop.
It's kind of that. It's
Pretty
almost like the people we cover comes from the same gene pool. It's really
Well,
weird.
to be Canadian,
Or they all meet in the same coffee shop.
I mean, when you think about
Yeah.
these people saying things that are sensitive, I don't know how masculinity is a sensitive topic, but if you're like this Canadian mind space, you're like, I got to be very apologetic to everything I'm not talking about. It's like, no, you don't really have to. That's over the top, sir. You don't have to cover all your bases. There's no reason to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Is my mic okay? Because I keep seeing the green circle flash around my name even when I'm not talking.
Sound great?
You sound okay.
It's weird.
You sound fine.
Like, no, but I'm worried like there's some background sound that's getting in, but I don't hear anything. There's no sounds being made, but my icon keeps flashing green.
So, no, you're fine. Anyway, just to remind everyone, this is the guy from Saurian Cinema who did that crazy video about how Jurassic Park is some sort of trans thematic story. I think, Dunn, you bought the book of the guy who wrote that story
Message
review.
coming in.
So
Patching it through.
this actually
Yes,
broke
I
our
did, and it's been amazing.
Really? Oh god, I could not imagine
Yeah.
what it's like reading that. So this guy actually broke our stream
It's,
back in the day. So we had to do it again.
we had to switch to we had to switch we actually had to do 2 streams because like it just broke on us.
Yeah, we were having the best time. I think this was probably my favorite, or number 68 was my favorite Smudcast, just because it was so ridiculous. So
Yeah, just like weird stuff like he Grant's act of like tying the 2 seatbelts together is him subduing 2 recalcitrant sisters.
Oh, because it's 2 female ends that he's tying together around him. So it's like, this is symbolic of him, controlling or bending femininity or something to his will.
Wow, that's so insightful. I always thought he was just a klutz.
I thought he just didn't know how the seatbelts worked, but hey.
or the alien queen is an analogy for the black welfare mom.
okay.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Femininity on the loose.
I-
Or the
I really-
best take of Jurassic Park films.
Mainly that's in the book because apparently some crazy lady said that Ripley is analogous for the white middle class wasp lady
Whoa.
versus the white welfare black woman that's
That's,
a parasite in society.
Strangely specific. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have lots of definitions to talk about masculinity in film as well as books, but we're going to hear his. Here's Jake the Surgeon. Masculinity is something this man doesn't have. We're not sure.
Yeah.
Disagree.
We're not sure yet.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
I think
He's just overly excited about his Jurassic Park poster. That's not a poster. It's art of every single frame of the film.
I just
What?
imagine.
Talking
I
about
imagine that
money.
he's like outside of a gulag or something, and that he's being tried by the feminist council or whatever it is, and he's giving this video under duress. Like you can see the barrel of the gun coming inside of the frame, like the boom every once in a while. And then you do a reverse shot, and he's before a panel. It's like X Factor or something, or like American Idol, and it's just a bunch of women that are judging him to see if he's gonna make it in the New World Order. Like, are you feminist enough? Are you female enough to make it in the female world order?
Oh, dear.
But Glib, he's already said that I look at all these traits in film and I try to be more like them so I can be societally accepted. So society can accept me. I'm going to try and be more like these characters.
I don't know what it's like to not be a free thinker.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
He's internalizing his masculinity, I guess. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
But since it's masculinity that tends to preoccupy the minds of most anti-feminists, I figured that's as good a place.
Is that true? I have no idea. What's an anti-feminist?
Whoa. I don't know at all.
I mean, the first thing on my mind tends to be food.
Oh.
And then clones.
First
and
thing on
Star
my
Wars.
mind is, the first thing on my mind just tends to be like Discord. Discord and writing. That's the thing that's the first thing on my mind. I'm not anti-feminist. I think that feminism has some good points, at least in terms of equality for all people. But the problem is that most feminists nowadays are nuts.
I'm trying to just
It's
grasp-
definitely egalitarian.
Yeah, that's the general term we use for people who want equal rights. They always have sought it, and they say it as a general philosophy in life, whether it's a particular part of the world or just a general idea. So I don't see it being a huge problem to say you're against feminism unless there's something specific about feminism which is bad that the anti-feminist would say. But I don't know what that is.
Yeah, because they don't specify ever. You just kind of say, "Oh, there's a bunch of anti-feminists out there." It's just okay, what are they saying?
Right. There's lots of male rights advocates as well, and they don't hate feminists or women. They just advocate for male rights. That's totally fine. The same way feminists advocate for female rights. It's the same idea.
Yeah. And the weird thing is, people say,
I'm just allergic to bullshit and insanity. How about that?
Okay. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. And there's a whole lot of that with a lot of people on the left, just as much as there are for people on the right.
Start, if indeed anti-feminists are going to be my presumed audience. Something else to keep in mind is that I'm not presenting myself as some sort of expert. It's not that I know so much about what it means to be masculine. So much
No, you're not an expert. You're not an expert at all. You're not even a layman.
You're
lame.
Oh boy!
So-
He's openly admitting he's not very knowledgeable on the subject.
He
So
is-
why are you making a video about something?
have to
if
admit,
you don't know anything about it.
I've never done a reverse curl in my life, but I'm definitely masculine, you guys.
This is the biggest safety net he could possibly. I'm sorry about all the feminists. I'm not an expert. We're talking just about masculine. It's dude, we get it. You're fine. Go.
I've never played Dark Souls, but I'm going to criticize the shit out of it. I'm going to talk about it. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway.
It's yes, we get it. I just get on with the argument, sir. We're fine. It's good.
Familiar with the struggle. I am well acquainted with the stresses, pressures, and anxieties that come with trying to figure out how I'm supposed to look, feel, think, behave as a man.
Okay, that's any human or anything trying. Am I doing the right thing in my life? Do I look good? Do I look bad? That's normal. That's called anxiety. Okay, you're fine.
Everyone has anxiety when it comes to big life choices and the way people look at you and all that kind of stuff. You're not special.
You are not a unique and special snowflake. You are not your daddy's khakis.
Okay. Well, where did that come from? I'm not even sure about that expression.
I don't know. I just heard it on School of Movies one time when they were actually good before they went nuts. Like, referring to Sam Witwicky and how he's moaning that he doesn't have a job. He's just forced to mooch off his girlfriend. It's an example of pathetic masculinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
That existential tension that desperately needs sorting in order to achieve equilibrium and happiness. The same existential tension that makes you wonder if Joker might actually be a good film. As if the best thing...
Might actually be... Wait, what? Okay.
It is a good film. What are you
because
talking about?
audience, the audience says, yeah, who cares about what they think,
What even is masculinity? I don't even know.
What is a good film?
See, I don't mind the beginning of making a statement of ignorance, saying I don't know what X is. Let's find out, and that's great. But he's sort of meandering around films now. He's talking about other things and referencing other subjects. It's like, dude, okay, you just focus on the one topic you got going for you, and let's just do that, okay? We can start from a realm of ignorance. We can go to textbook definitions. We can do examples of what might people think is masculinity off the cuff or impromptu. You say, okay, what do you think of X? It's like, I think X is Y. Oh, great. Do that. Don't just randomly say stuff like, oh, I think could be a bad film. Like, why? What?
What are your references?
Yeah,
let's see what he has to say.
Yeah.
About The Dark Knight didn't give two shits about the Joker's origins. But for whatever it's worth, today I'm more than happy to share what I've learned as a feminist with an anti-feminist audience.
Hey.
Let's take a look at one of my all-time favorite films, Children of Men. Obligatory spoiler alert, but come on, if you haven't seen this film already, it is well worth pausing this video right now to go watch it. Children of Men tells the story of a world caught up in a global infertility crisis. By the year 2027, nobody's had a baby in over 18 years. Britain is ostensibly the only country in the world that still has a functioning government, but it's descended into a fascist police state that routinely incarcerates immigrants and other undesirables. Crazy, right? Theo is the main character, a former...
Nigel Farage, what?
Jab at you. Yeah, it was Nigel Farage.
What was that for?
Because he's making a jab at UKIP, saying Nigel Farage is a fascist guy who wants to arrest and deport immigrants.
Really?
I don't know if he is, but apparently, according to this guy, he is.
I don't know why it's called the Human Project. It should be called the Man Project, because men are the best.
It's not masculine.
Well, he's erasing the wall, so what he's going to do, he's going to remove the HU, and it's just going to be the Man Project.
Yep. You can't spell human without man.
Yeah, it's like women failed, so their wombs all failed at the same time. So now men have to take over and become the mothers of society. That's what the theme of Children of Men is.
I bet that's going to be like
Big
the point he's
theme.
going to make. Like, look at all these men in control, and it's all chaos. Something like that.
I think he's not going to say that. I think he. I've actually watched this video before, just once. I actually am the person who recommended it, just because I thought it'd be interesting to discuss. But it's the main problem with him is that he doesn't use a lot of variety, and it's just kind of like discussions of like what are like masculine traits that seem to be common.
There's
That's
so
the
many
main thing that he
films.
seems to.
There's like you have decades of films to look at for leading men or strong men or whatever kind of clever aspects of the prototypical male lead or the ingenious clever man, the detectives. There's all sorts of elements to talk about what was masculine and what is intelligence, what is strength, what is endurance, what does it mean to be alive. There's so many elements, and I don't know if he's just taking a surface level or he's just talking about the things he likes. It should be interesting to see, but obviously it's going to be limited because you can't do that much in 24 minutes.
world that still has a functioning government, but it's descended into a fascist police state that routinely incarcerates immigrants and other undesirables. Crazy, right? Theo is the main character, a former activist turned cynical low-level bureaucrat who's contacted by an underground paramilitary resistance movement that wants him to help escort a young immigrant woman to the coast, a young immigrant woman who's somehow gotten pregnant.
I love how this is like.
But we're not going to focus on Theo.
This feels so out of context.
No, we're going to talk about Luke, a supporting player in all the action. At the start of the film, Luke is second in command of the paramilitary group that contacts Theo. He's soon elected leader of the group when their former commander Julian is murdered by a mob of angry thieves. Luke possesses many of the qualities.
Okay, dude, we're getting like into the plot now. Are we going to address the masculine elements, or are we just describing the story?
No, we're not. But I like how he added in that there's an anti-immigrant sentiment in this time period, this future, and I think that's pretty funny. And then the womb that can survive humanity, the only way that humanity can have children is through an immigrant. That's a propaganda technique. That's subtle, but it is. So it's funny that he's calling it out as a positive for his viewpoint, because I see it as a negative from my side.
It's symbolic because immigrants are the future of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, that's what they say though. That is the fictional propaganda that's used to change people's minds. So this is already a bad example of whatever he's not saying. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to bring up.
Why is she naked in a milk factory?
Because it's symbolism.
No. Well, I want to know what immigration has to do with masculinity. Maybe there's lots of able-bodied men going out in the world and trying to stake their claim to it. It's like, oh, maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the message. But no, it's not.
Well,
the propaganda
he's talking
sense,
about this one character here. Like this one character he's bringing up.
I can't remember. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, the Children of Men movie, but if I remember correctly, Luke, the guy on the left, set up the whole thing where he comes into power. Like I think the gang of thieves our guy mentioned, I think they were actually working with the resistance group and he was trying to take control or something like that. I vaguely remember that. So he technically murdered the leader of the group so he could take control, if I remember it correctly. So, yeah, not a great example.
It's been pretty much a more thinking man's transporter story. You have a woman, she has to get from A to B, and it's a big war zone. So, fate of humanity, etc., etc.
Might associate with original masculinity. He's strong.
What's the flight?
He's brave. He's a man of action. He gets the job done. He's organized, level-headed, thoughtful.
Get him a shower and a clean shirt. Okay. Thomas, don't block the car and it needs to be jump-started.
A good leader, people listen to him. He's articulate, empathic, and self-sacrificing.
And when you and the baby are well enough, we will find a way to get you to the human project, I promise you.
Risking life and limb to save the women and children under his protection.
I've forgotten what they look like. They're so beautiful. They're so tiny.
He also happens to be a fucking serial killer.
What are you doing? Get on the car. Why did you do that? Get in the fucking car!
Soon after Julian is murdered, we find out Luke was the one who actually orchestrated her death, so that he could take over the power vacuum that she'd left behind. Luke routinely executes people in cold blood.
Okay, again, this is all the plot. Why are we talking about... Right. Why is this, like, he double-crosses people? It's like, yes, yeah, okay.
What does that have to do with his manhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that...
I was going to say, when he's listing off all the good attributes of this guy, I'm like, yeah, you're leaving out he's also the bad guy.
The number one thing that's stupid about Children of Men that I think people forget about is that, like, it's Children of Men assumes the worst in humanity in general, in that there's no way that, like, the government that exists at the time period would want to protect this person and do anything with it, right? Like, this human project thing. Why does there have to be a resistance versus government paradigm in this movie? It actually doesn't help anybody, and it kind of goes against what I think humanity would be trying to do. If everybody was sterile, and one person you found out could get pregnant, what's the conflict?
Keep it a secret.
Why is there a conflict over that? Yeah, wouldn't that change like the whole world? And then the other thing is that Children of Men is really smug because it's putting out all this stuff about how the apocalypse would be or whatever, this environment, and nothing good happens and nobody good exists except for Theo and this baby carrying woman.
Also,
or whatever. And by the end of it, all the men are shut up. By the end of it, all the men are dead.
I put my hand up.
Okay. By the end of it, all the men are dead and the woman survives. So this is a total feminist movie.
Oh, except for Julianne Moore getting shot in the face. Oh,
I have a question. I haven't seen this film, but why does people becoming infertile mean governments just fall apart like wet cake?
All right, isn't that like the atheist paradise or whatever? Isn't that like the hedonistic wonder? Like, oh, now we can just have sex. No one will get pregnant. Let's go. You'd think it'd be all
but why does the government just fall apart? Why?
Because it's a horseshit movie at the end of the day. Even though it's really good, I love the movie, but it's horseshit. It assumes the worst in people and gives all of the good traits to a couple characters.
Zombie apocalypse, anything which kind of happens like nuclear war, things which disrupt the lines of government. I can see the government falling in those situations. But all of a sudden, people just can't get pregnant. That's not a sudden disruption of the government because the people who are still in government are still alive and functional. So why do the government just fall apart? Just like, oh, guess we can't have children now. Guess we just give up, right? No, okay, just give up.
Well, they also never, I don't remember all the details, but I don't think they ever revealed like why people were becoming infertile too.
No.
Like, did they ever say in the movie why men?
No, they never get into the science of what's going on. That's the whole thing. That no one knows what's going on. They're all panicking, and they don't know what to do. So a lot of them are partying. A lot of them are just going crazy, and then there's all this unrest. And you get all these little skirmishes, and they bring out the military and fighting other people with the guns. It's like, okay, this is weird, but I honestly can't see it happening that way unless there was some serious conflict going on that we were not shown, that I didn't grasp. So, but yeah, it's a great idea. It looks great, sounds great. Lots of good scenes. It's just a hard sell. Oh, here's Jake the Surgeon. His dad's pullout game must have been abysmal. I don't know if you're talking about the movie or something else. So we'll leave it at that.
Every act of so-called mercy that he bestows is, in fact, an attempt to manipulate others into doing what he wants.
Not in front of the gun. Wait till we get around the corner and do them all.
So why are we looking at Luke? Well, because I think he illustrates an important point about masculinity. That how masculine you are is inherently value neutral. Luke is as masculine as you like, but that has no...
Okay.
Neutral?
All right.
Where did you get that idea from? Where does the movie... Yeah, okay, so let me take the reverse angle here, right? If you act like this guy, eventually you'll get killed.
She'll be so masculine.
Is this about masculinity or mescaline? Because I feel like I'm on the second.
Yeah. I kind of.
I want to see the distinction between what the characters in the story want and trying to do and what it means to be masculine in the movie, because I don't get it. He's not making the distinction. He's just saying this is what happens in the film. And I'm like, yeah, and? So what? Is he pumping iron? Is he like breaking people's necks with his finger? Like, is that strength? Like, what is he doing that makes him masculine? Just tell me, show me. You can't just list traits of a leader. It's like, yeah, he's a leader. Okay. He double crosses people. Okay. And
no bearing on whether or not he's a good person. Theo, by comparison, is only really good at two things: empathizing and running away.
Okay, is that masculine? I don't know. Could be. I see nothing wrong with running away. You could be a coward. You could be trying to save your life. There's nothing wrong with that. And plus, he's running away in a situation where he's trying to achieve a goal. He's following his plot line. He's not running away like to do something else, like to run away for the sake of it. So he's courageous.
Right, and he's running away from people that have guns, and he doesn't have a gun.
Yeah, he's trying to get away from danger while still achieving his goal in the plot line. So that's fine. That's a hero character. That's great. He doesn't have to be a souped up, roided dude with like automatic machine guns strapped to his back. That's not necessary. Like, is that again? But he has to say, is that masculine or not? Because that's the whole point of this video.
And yet he's the hero that Luke only wishes he could be.
Really?
Message coming in.
When does this happen?
Patching it through.
He only wishes he was the other character? Really? I never got that at all. Mark in 3D. The secret JoJo technique of running away. Yeah. Not quite the same. Unfortunately, I can't do that wonderful animation, but yeah.
We need him! It's a girl, Luke.
Well, hold on, I hear you say. Luke was at war. He was forced to make difficult decisions for the sake of the cause. A good cause. A progressive cause. He was fighting for the greater good, but his drive to lead became a need.
Didn't Dunn say he was the antagonist?
The best of him. Guy was always way too angry.
No, it was Glib.
He is the antagonist.
I've never seen this movie.
Protocol again. I'll have to kill you.
Okay. How about a different dystopian sci-fi movie character from the mid-aughts, who also embodies all the traditional notions of masculinity, who wasn't at war and never lost his temper and didn't need to lead? What might that sort of character teach us about masculinity?
I see no listing of rank or name.
I have neither. Like this facility, I don't exist.
This is the Operative, the primary antagonist of the 2005 sci-fi action film Serenity. The Operative is tasked with hunting down River Tam, a 17-year-old mentally traumatized ballerina assassin and part-time human bendy straw, who may or may not be privy to some of the most classified government intel in the entire galaxy. Nobody actually knows what she knows.
If there was some classified information that she never spoke of it.
But the mere possibility is enough to sign her death warrant.
Secrets are not my concern. Keeping them is.
Despite the Operative's fanatical dedication to his mission, he's oddly dispassionate.
I should tell you so that you don't waste your time. You can't make me angry.
Please spend an hour with him.
He isn't motivated by personal ambition or a desire to be on top. He's not proud or bloodthirsty.
We should have done this as men, not with fire.
As far as he's concerned, he just wants to make the world a better place.
We're making a better world. All of them. Better worlds.
In fact, it's the Operative's level-headedness and complete lack of ego that ultimately saves our heroes, when he orders his troops to stand down after all the damage has been done.
Stand down. Stand down.
Hey, no. Hold on. I don't know if anybody in this chat has seen this movie, but he watched a video where, okay, spoiler alert for the whole series, the Firefly series. They find out that the government accidentally created the Reavers, which are these cannibalistic space psychos, rapists. Yeah, rapists, basically. They accidentally created them, and this video exposes, basically is the whistleblower saying, like, hey, we did this, it's all our fault. He sees this, and he realizes the people that he works for are not the squeaky clean, best of the best people, they're hypocrites, basically, right? That's why he told them to stand down. He's like, my eyes have been opened, basically. And he actually has a great line. I don't know if he's going to put it in this clip or not, where Nathan Fillion calls him out and he says, you're doing all this so you can live in your perfect world. And the Operative says, I'm not going to live there. There's no place for me there. So he recognizes, yeah, I'm not going to live in this perfect world. I'm a monster. So I actually like that about.
Yeah, he thinks that what he's working toward, like, he thinks that the ideals of his society will make better worlds, but the problem is he is wrong.
Right.
They will not make better worlds. They tried that already, and it made the Reapers for the Reapers.
I feel like this is another instance of the Tao Te Ching, the wise man. We can describe his appearance, we just can't understand his thoughts. And he's not connecting the dots here. He's just saying, this is what happens in the movie. You're like, okay, sure. Where's the masculine lens, sir, that you're supposed to be holding up to your eye and looking at the film that way? Can you tell us what you see?
Sorry about that. My dog just.
A bit confused there, Bob.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Sorry, my dog is going crazy because she sees a squirrel outside the window. Jesus Christ.
Okay. We'll give you a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am sorry about that.
Fine.
All right.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was, this guy, he also panics at one point too. So he's not exactly level-headed. When he sees the Reavers coming at him, in a great scene, by the way, coming at him in his fleet of ships, he panics. He's screaming at everybody to start shooting at something. So he panics at one point. The level-headedness disappears.
And it's hilarious. It's both hilarious and tense at the same time.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
Again, I just wish we tied this into the theme of the actual video, so I don't know what he's getting at here, but we'll keep going.
Unequivocally evil.
I don't murder children. I do. If I have to.
He says so himself.
What I do is evil. I have no illusions about it, but it must be done.
Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying masculinity itself is evil. Remember all of Luke's good qualities we talked about? Same goes for the operative. His unique set of skills and personality traits might have actually done some good if they were ever dedicated to a noble cause, a less murdery one. But I suppose you'll be wanting a more positive example of hyper-masculinity at this point. You know, something to prove that I'm not one of those feminists who thinks that all forms of masculinity are evil. Or as I like to call them, straw men. Sure, no problem. 2008 was one of my all-time favorite years for film.
Wait. He just stops? That was... Oh my... What a waste of time. What was the point of it? Just here's this great character.
It's just shocking.
He's a bad guy,
Just
therefore...
shocking.
I don't... What are you doing, dude?
It's just shocking at this point. It's just ridiculous. It's just like... And he's just... Like, I like Chiwetel Ejiofor, but like all he's going to do with this whole video is just use Chiwetel Ejiofor movies.
Well, what he had to do
He's not going to do anything else.
Was define the term. He didn't do that yet. Usually some guys that we covered do that, or they have their own bastardized version of it, or they have their own created version of it. This guy did neither. He just says, what is masculinity? Here's a film, and this guy does this. He's also in another film, and he does that. And you're like...
He's talking about things which aren't even exclusive to, like, masculinity.
Right.
Like, or he's just talking about, really general character traits or things they do. It's like, oh, they kill people. Oh, they're a good leader. Oh, they're this.
Right.
Oh, they're that. Oh, he just does what needs to be done. Oh, this. Oh, that. He's not even... It's not even a wide look. You're looking at one specific character. You're looking for evidence of fish in a glass of water.
It's like saying this character has the leadership quality. He's also an antagonist. And he does all these other things too. And you're like, okay, what do all these character traits mean? What does it mean to have the personality of the masculine? What is that? And he hasn't even talked about that yet. So we're sitting there going,
defined as...
Yeah. It's like, it's like talking about apple trees. It's like, well, this is a pear tree and this is a lemon tree. And you're like, yes. And what are you getting at? Like, what's your comparison here? What is it? Fruit? Is it sugar? Mm-hmm. Is it,
He even said, here's two negative examples. Like, here's a bad guy, here's another bad guy. Now let's do a positive character. Like, okay, why don't you just start with the positive characters then?
Here's Jake the Surgeon. My autistic cat understands masculinity better.
Probably.
Kind of just all of these people that we cover are from the same gene pool. They look almost exactly alike. It's weird. Like, he looks like Xander, who looks like Yezin. He looks like Yezin. He looks like Patrick. He looks like Sage Hayden. He looks...
I wouldn't go as far as saying he looks like Patrick Willems.
They sound alike, but they don't look alike.
Yezin, this guy, and Xander all look very alike.
It's impossible to watch movies wrong, but you're watching movies wrong.
I need to clip that. It's a funny line.
My all-time favorite of 2008 was Redbelt. It tells the story of Mike Terry, a Los Angeles jiu-jitsu instructor who's suffering... Wait, are all my examples going to be played by Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yes.
Apparently.
You have no creativity.
Is this a Secret Chewie Stan video? Well,
Yes.
it's not that. What do you want from me? He's my
What the
favorite living
fuck is
actor, and
that?
we needed a control.
I don't know. He
That
likes,
certainly wasn't
Whoa,
masculine.
whoa.
He
Why
really
do
likes
you need
this
a
guy.
control for this topic? Because like, if you're only looking at one guy who plays a character, who plays different characters, how is that a control?
Yeah.
Because surely you'd be looking at lots of different, actors who have played a wide range of characters. Anyone from Rodney McKay from Stargate to I don't know, Captain Picard from Star Trek, or I don't know, someone from fucking EastEnders. I don't watch the show, but I'm sure they have some characters there who are men.
Well,
there are so many characters you can pull from, not just one actor.
Patching it through.
You need to have
Because this
The
guy likes
results are a little
creativity.
biased there, buddy.
Yeah, you need an actual premise for your video, and then you define your terms, and then you go off about searching for the information to make sure your premise is accurate or incorrect, and then you look at the evidence. You go, oh, I made this mistake, or this is not accurate, or this is incorrect. That's all you have to do in this video, sir. You're just taking the thing you like, which is a dude, and he's in multiple films, and then you're talking about this dude. And I'm like, what does this do? Have anything to do with masculinity, aside from it being a dude? Aye. Jake the Surgeon. Clearly, there needs to be a culling. There needs to be. This guy needs to go back to essays class. Back to grade school. How to write an essay. That's it.
Message coming in.
That's so Skaven.
We need to be cloning the right genes.
And the gene pool is shallow as hell. Oh, jeez. I don't know.
Agreed.
Yeah. I would
So
say
Mike-
cesspool.
I thought
but
this
yeah.
video was going to be longer, but we were just blasting through. He has nothing to say. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Terry is a Los
pretty
Angeles
much.
jiu-jitsu instructor suffering from a cascade of compounding bad luck. There's an accidental shooting in his studio that almost gets someone killed.
Okay. Someone has a gun lying
What?
around in a martial arts studio.
Okay, need some context for that one.
Oh, great.
That's every average American, isn't it? Just leaving guns around on the floor. That's what all Americans do.
Just guns lying around.
Just leave guns everywhere.
She
That's what we
accidentally
do.
grabs the gun, picks it up, and fires at the window. Like, how does this happen? Maybe if it was a
I
revolver.
know, just kind of. Maybe it's not a revolver. It's it looks like it's just standard handgun.
It's like a Glock or something. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know. How does this
Glocks are
happen?
more square.
This is silly.
He can't pay to replace the window because he told the insurance company the wind did it in an effort to protect the woman who fired the shot.
The girl, he turned her in. The cops would have said it was attempted murder.
His best friend gets stiffed for doing a job that Terry put him up for.
I set you up with a job with my people who apparently stiffed you.
Guy can't seem to catch a break. But then Terry saves the life of a fading action movie star in a bar fight, and for at least a little while, things seem to be looking up. The actor is impressed with Mike's whole ethos, and soon he's rubbing shoulders with the Hollywood elite.
They want me to be a producer.
But then they go and give him a watch that Terry has the bad luck of giving to his friend as payment for the job he got stiffed on, and when his friend tries to pawn it,
Somebody pawned the watch that Chet gave you. And he was told the watch was stolen. Stolen? Yeah.
soon enough, everything comes crashing down. The actor cuts all ties, and his manager steals Terry's training method as a publicity stunt for an upcoming prize fight.
Each fighter has a 2 in 3 odds of choosing the white marble. White marble's a pass.
Should he pick a white marble, he'll be given a pass. Should he pick a black marble, he'll be given a handicap.
This is especially upsetting to Terry since he's always refused to fight for money, since he believes it's a dishonorable practice that ultimately weakens the fighter.
You compete? No.
Terry sues for copyright infringement, but in what is one of my all-time favorite instances of planting and payoff, turns out they've got dirt on Terry and his lawyer from something that happened in the very first scene of the film. With bankruptcy looming, possible criminal charges, and no legal recourse, Terry reluctantly decides to accept a long-standing invitation to fight for some prize money in a desperate attempt to try and finally get his life back on track. If you're looking for a vision of benevolent hypermasculinity in film, you could certainly do worse than Mike Terry.
Okay, what is hypermasculinity in film, sir? Is it a martial arts instructor doing a prize fight?
I mean, if I said hypermasculinity, I'd be thinking of someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's fucking built like a brick shit house in his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Chiwetel Ejiofor, but it's just like you're not providing any argument. You're not providing like definitions of terms, and it makes what you're doing really frustrating.
Like if you guys,
and I've never seen this Redbelt. I've never seen this Redbelt movie, but after hearing all this, it sounds like it's a guy that's been pushed into a corner, and now he's like, screw it, I'm gonna take the only chance that I can get. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't hear anything about masculinity in this.
Yeah, it's either going to be a downer film,
so far,
or he gets pushed into a corner and then he triumphs over it, or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, great. Again, nothing to do with characterization, everything to do with plot. You're like, okay, and
Archetypal warrior poet, Terry is just as skilled at fighting as he is disinterested in perpetuating violence.
Everything has a force. Embrace it or deflect it. Why oppose it?
For all his strength, Terry never actually goes looking for a fight, even when fighting could probably solve a lot of his problems. Okay, he does go looking for a fight once, at the end of the film, when he reluctantly signs up for the undercard prize fight.
That's not looking for a fight to do damage. That's I want to make money. That's not
What's his point?
I don't know.
Yeah, and plus, martial arts instructors, they never go out looking for a fight. In fact, they pretty much tell you, this is for defense. This is never for attack. I mean, I don't want to be quoting, the Jedis here, but yeah, exactly. But still, it's still the same point. They teach you martial arts for defense. Like to defend yourself.
Plus,
so yeah, what's your point here?
Even if you were to get into a fight, fighting styles always vary. You don't have to be aggressive in your fight. There's lots of fighters, even boxers, that don't fight aggressively. So, what's wrong with getting money when he has nothing left he can do to make a living? I don't see the problem here, and the story is forcing him into that scene. So
But as soon as you realize what a sham it all is, he packs it in.
Pack it up, we're going home.
Right before finally deciding to do something that will unequivocally involve some fighting.
Hey, you quit. Mr. Flip!
The last scene is something of a power fantasy, but I do love how wonderfully unpretentious writer-director David Mamet's explanation is.
Would you have broken up that fight?
So now I think it's high time we ask ourselves,
what the fuck are you talking about?
I can't answer that question.
I just don't care. I just wow, this is so anti.
It's not even covering the point.
12 minutes in, we're halfway done. We still don't know what he's talking about.
He's not constructing any kind of argument. He's just saying, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened.
Just a summary of things. It's just,
what? I would appreciate someone.
It's pretty easy to make a point. Okay, so basic argument. Make a point, show some evidence, then explain it. This is something they teach you very early on in English, at least to do here in the UK. But why can't you just do the that basic thing? But it's pretty much just if you're making a big paragraph just out of evidence. Oh, this happens and that 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 happens. Just keeps fucking going on.
This is again like his previous video. He was using someone else's argument or point, and he was just referencing it. Right. In this case, he's looking at a film and saying this happens in the film, but there's no actual message in the film or thing we could point to and say, oh, well, this is a very masculine film, therefore this is masculine. He's not even doing that. So he's not even creating a thesis statement. He's just going, look at all this evidence. I'm like, of what? What are we talking about?
Let's just keep going and let it.
Yeah, no, this is going to be over so quickly.
Hero like Mike Terry from two hypermasculine villains like Luke and the Operative. All three of them are strong and self-assured. They're all powerful fighters. Both Terry and the Operative are thoughtful, soft-spoken, and fully capable of backing down from a fight if they feel it's not absolutely necessary. So what makes two of them bad guys and one of them a good guy? What determines their moral alignment? I have racked my brain over this, and I can really only think of one thing. You ready? Terry doesn't want to control anyone. Even when he's fighting, he doesn't attempt to control other people's lives so much as it is an attempt to prevent other people from controlling the life.
So he's saying that the reason why he keeps choosing the same actor is for control. But you can even get actors that are just, they're typecasted. They can be typecasted for playing a villain or a hero. So that doesn't even work as a control group. Like, I don't understand why he's going with the same fucking actor. It's so weird and pointless.
Well, the idea behind this role is that it's a good guy. He's the protagonist. So therefore, he's a good character, or he's virtuous. Whereas the other roles he showed us in the other films, he's the bad guy. So does that mean the bad guys are trying to control? Because I'm quite sure jiu-jitsu is all about control. When you're fighting someone.
Maybe it's like controlling other people is the thing.
Yeah, I think that's what he's on about. Yeah, controlling other people.
I wish he would clarify what he's trying to say here.
Since that's what they said, this toxic masculinity is this control over other people, and especially women is usually a trait that they ascribe to toxic masculinity.
But this is not toxic. This is just masculinity. I'm like, what is masculinity? We still don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The world shall never know.
Here's That's So Stupid. Japanese do kung fu. U.S. people do gun fu. Oh.
Yeah.
American people do Ameridote.
We got to watch Equilibrium.
Yes.
That's another good one. No.
Well,
That was a great
John
movie.
Wick's better than Equilibrium.
John Wick's a good one too.
John Wick is a different movie, but Equilibrium is just such a memeable movie. Like, you have Sean Bond in it, you got Christian Bale, and he's all serious faced like Batman, and then you got what's his buddy Taye Diggs or whatever, and
Oh god, that guy.
and he's mugging it up for the camera, but he's supposed to have total self control. It's a complete contradiction. And then, like, I don't know. I can't wait to hear Shiny talk about the visual effects, because there's some really funny solutions that they came up with. Like, when he jumps through the door into this quiet, like, this room is black, and he dives into the center of the room, and then his arms just start moving from position to position while his body stays still. And that's the gun kata. It's like, and he switches position, but he doesn't move at all.
Yeah, the whole scene is, like, lit up by, like, the muzzle flash from his guns.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's what do they call it? The budget matrix or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Something
That's exactly what it is.
All right, Tyler Preston.
Dirt cheap matrix.
Feminists never give examples of positive masculinity whenever they talk about toxic. Well, we're not even talking about toxic masculinity. We're just talking about movies, and that's it. There's no reference to masculinity.
Movies portraying masculinity, but then he's not even talking about how they portray it. It's just like here's some films.
It's really hard
Here's
to grasp.
a film.
And I don't care if he was wrong of his definition of masculinity. At least there would have been one. And we go, okay, well, that's what you're trying to say, but it's not there, or maybe you got it wrong, or whatever. There's nothing in this video. We're just sitting there going, yeah, all right. So now it's about control. And you're like, no, that's the most generic thing you could say about a character wanting something and trying to do something to get it. He's trying to control something to get to point B. It's like, yeah, okay. One guy's a jiu-jitsu guy. One guy has a key and he can control the lock. It's like, okay, what? One guy has a gun. He pulls the trigger. It's like, yes, he's trying to control people. Of
others. In essence, Terry wants complete control of himself and absolutely no control over anyone else. Does that sound
except when he gets into a fight
like your typical anti-feminist?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
What is
I
the
don't
difference?
care.
That doesn't have anything to do with the actual fucking films themselves, you idiot.
If you wanted to do a video about anti-feminism, then great. Do that video and have that line of dialogue that you just mentioned. This is about masculinity, sir.
This is another Renegade Cup video where you have a topic that he wants to talk about, and then he picks some movies to try and be the examples of it. It's not really about the movies. No, it's not.
At least
it's
Renegade
about
Cup.
feminism.
At least Renegade Cup actually has some kind, like he'll have some point and then he'll try to use evidence. He just uses the wrong evidence and he stretches it. At least he's saying something. This guy isn't saying anything.
Here's Joe Crazy. To quote Helsing Abridged.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Okay, is there a rest stop between now and the effing point? I don't know.
Oh. To me, it doesn't. Whenever a men's rights activist cites some statistic about male...
Wait, why? How are we in men's rights? What does that have anything to do with what we're talking about? Did I miss something?
It has zero to do with anything.
Anyone else. Does that sound like your typical anti-feminist? Not to me it doesn't. Whenever a men's rights activist cites some statistic about male combat fatalities, higher rates of mental illness, or harsher prison sentences, it's never an attempt to advocate for medical or judicial reform. It's only ever an attempt to shut women up.
Oh, wait. Okay.
What?
What is this video about? Are we talking about...
Very little.
Are we talking about male or male roles?
How did we get here?
Yeah, male characters.
We're talking about men rights activists now.
Now we're in legal and judicial issues regarding fatality rates in the military? And that implies it causes the argument to stop because women, I don't know, can't talk about that? What? What is this? What is this video?
It's a bad one.
Jessica X, is this channel about movies or masculinity? I think he's using movies
Neither.
Why not both?
Yeah, well,
Message
no.
coming in.
He's using movies as an excuse to talk about whatever the hell he wants.
Uh-huh.
Like transgendered dinosaurs.
Ugh.
Yep.
Now I know what you're
Wish we were kidding.
Oh no. Where are we going?
Doesn't want to shut women up. They just want to go their own way. Men who want to be left alone in peace. Yeah, I know that's their stated goal, but I have to wonder why these men wanted to get away from women in the first place.
Does this guy have a nervous twitch in his neck, or is he just...
What men? What men are we talking about? Name names, damn it!
Men just want to get away from women. Then you have to ask, why are they trying to get away from women? It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, okay.
When you hear them talk, it sounds to me like they're less interested in preventing their own oppression, and more that they harbor a bitter, entitled resentment over their inability to control women in the
Alrighty, now we're getting to the craziness.
Sir, this is a McDonald's.
I've always had this I've always had this mentality, like if I ever saw like one of these people like this guy or Patrick Willems on the street, I would just like
Message coming in.
Sucker punch them right in the jaw. Like not even say anything, not even introduce myself, just punch them in the jaw and keep going. This guy, I want to shoot him in the kneecap and keep going.
Is he trying to like get some brownie points? Like, what is he trying to do in this video?
I seriously doubt this guy has a girlfriend. I seriously doubt it.
Oh, Jake the Surgeon. Feminists downplay the struggle men have in society, and bringing them up is silencing women.
Yep.
MGTOWs are bad, guys. They're bad. Because they can't control women.
They can't
that they can't control women.
They can't control the whammon, baby.
Oh. Maybe if women weren't a mistake, then maybe things would be different.
So you have a men's rights activist. I'm making an argument off the top of my head because I don't know any personally or know any arguments. It's like, what if they start talking about how women are more likely to win a divorce case and gain custody over children and
Message
everything.
coming in.
So you have a men's rights activist talking about that and how you say he lost his children or something and he can't ever see them again, and it was all. There was no reason why he couldn't have had custody, and then all of a sudden this guy's just like, well, you see, that just sounds like you're just upset that you just can't control women.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I really have nothing to say. I'm just going to read this last super chat here. Random Fish from SpongeBob. Hey buddy, did you blow in from Stupid Town?
First place. So Mike Terry is a vision of benevolent hypermasculinity. Good for him. But at the end of the day, isn't he really more of an inspirational figure rather than an aspirational one? I mean,
what does this mean?
What's the difference? Inspiration is basically something you can't really be, but you strive to be. But aspirational is something you can be. I think is the difference.
I don't know, because I suppose there's like maybe a minimal difference, but I would put them in the same vein.
Well,
of the same comment. Like if I say I aspire to be some. Oh, I suppose like inspired is like more of a past tense. Like I was inspired to create this artwork based on someone's style. I was inspired to become a doctor because of some TV show. Where aspiring would be something which is you're currently trying to do. Like I'm aspiring to make something in the vein of
An
this.
inspiration,
I'm aspiring to be a doctor.
Usually, when you use the term inspire, you're stimulating yourself, your mind, your body to do something. Whereas an aspiration is like a goal or a dream. You don't necessarily pursue that goal, but it is something you have that you want.
Oh, let's look at Google and see what the difference is.
All right, I'll read the last super chat. Strawman, your name is actually Strawman. That's cool. This guy's a bigger Strawman than me. Like, okay, that's great. Okay. We need Mary Sue.
You're not wrong.
We need Mary Sue in the chat. We need Day Sex in the chat. We need all these literary terms. Great. Oh boy.
Can any of us ever be as perfect as Mike Terry? What if you're not a hyper-masculine warrior poet with a pacifist streak who can't be bested in physical combat? What are you supposed to do then? Well, after looking at 3 hyper-masculine characters, I think it's high time we finally talk about betas. Dirty Pretty Things is one of my favorite films that nobody's ever heard of. Chiwetel Ejiofor plays Okwe, an undocumented immigrant who ekes out a living in London, driving a cab during the day and working a hotel front desk at night. One evening, a guest informs him there's a blocked toilet in one of the rooms, and when Okwe goes up to unclog it, I know, right? One of my favorite first act twists in all of movie history. So Okwe stumbles upon a black market organ smuggling ring, organized by the sadistic hotel manager Juan.
A human heart.
What? Jesus, did this guy ever play a non-sadist? When Juan finds out Okwe was actually a surgeon back in Nigeria, he immediately starts pressuring Okwe to join the operation. At first, he tries appealing to Okwe's empathic nature.
No. If you are a doctor, you can do something for this guy.
But when Okwe makes it clear he still doesn't want to be involved, Juan just starts blackmailing him. Not so hard to do for an undocumented immigrant.
Stop acting like you've got a choice.
So Okwe isn't exactly mopping the floor with his enemies here. His preferred method of resolving conflict is just to avoid it, same as Terry. But unlike Terry, Okwe doesn't avoid conflict because of some pacifist streak. He avoids it because he's not much of a fighter. Unlike Terry, Okwe is racked with insecurities and self-doubt. In fact, he sports many traits that I know a lot of anti-feminists find off-putting, even disgraceful. He's not aggressive or dominant.
Anti-feminists have standards for... What?
The best way to fight a human trafficking ring is with effeminate cooking skills.
What?
If so.
Now it just sounds like he's made a whole video just to jab at people who are quotation marks anti-feminist, or like anyone who he puts everyone into this big group, and then he's making big, huge strawman generalizations.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know either.
How did we get
find the
How did we get from masculinity to anti-feminism? Like, why did we jump rails all of a sudden? I don't. And he's in this character's a beta.
He has no creativity.
I don't know. Like, what's going on? Tyler Preston, Mr. Strawman, give me a break. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on in this video. I couldn't tell.
I don't know either. So I found the definition for aspirational. It's having or characterized by aspirations to achieve social prestige or material status.
Yeah, that's
Message
fine.
coming in. Patching it through.
Jake the surgeon, just say illegal, you coward. Joe Crazy, interesting. Get to the damn point. Yeah, I know. We're trying to figure out where he's going with this, but it's been 15 minutes and a half, and we're still lost.
He's really rather meek and deferential. He can't even close with the woman he's sharing a flat with, for God's sake. But are we really going to sit here and argue that he's a total failure of a man because he's not some black belt skull crusher?
How come I've never seen you people before? Because we are the people you do not see.
What a great line!
Why have we never seen you? Because you don't see us.
And suck your cocks.
We
In
suck
my
your
experience,
cocks.
the people most eager to rush to violence are usually the ones with the least experience with it anyway. People who've seen and suffered violence aren't usually the first people to advocate on its behalf. Oakway
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
presents a vision of masculinity that's kind and deferential, rather than overpowering and aggressive. And lest we forget...
Why does that have to be masculine or feminine?
How
Why
is that-
are you applying gender roles to people's affections?
I'm trying to wrap this around my brain. Are masculine people only capable of violence?
When a masculine guy is gonna propose to his girlfriend, he jumps through a plate glass window, and then he punches the waiter in the face, and he goes, "I love you, baby. This is how much I love you." And then he suplexes the sous chef.
Oh boy.
And
tenderness is feminine. Beating people up is masculine.
So is it dad masculine or not masculine? Like, which one is it? Anti-feminist? Like, what is it? Having compassion for your children is what?
I don't know. I guess that would be a inspirational figure where it's providing or showing creative or spiritual inspiration. So it's basically aspirational and inspirational are basically like material versus spiritual, I guess, or like physical traits versus like
You could be inspired by the
like
physical.
moral traits,
It's the same.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Same
For
difference.
for inspirational means as well, or physical means as well. So yeah.
Oak does indeed finally gain the upper hand over his boss, playing into his own strengths and exploiting his boss's weaknesses in such a way that sees him come out on top in the most satisfying way imaginable.
Why is that not like a masculine trait? He's a man. He's doing these things. Is he saying that being conniving is not masculine? I don't understand this.
Message coming in.
This is what happens when you just want to slander men and you're just reaching for straws.
I'm not sure what he's doing. Shiny, you totally cut out there.
Oh, sorry. I said we thought we weren't allowed straws anymore because those were hurting the turtles.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are no more straw men, just paper men.
You can only have paper men.
I don't even think we know what the hell he's talking about now. He could be bad.
He never
mouthing
did,
men.
so it doesn't matter.
We're just like, what is this?
Men,
video?
I like men that are softer and are huggable, and they defeat their enemies through poison instead of stabbing them. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Beta men are good. Like, how is this man a beta man? I don't know. Like, he's a surgeon.
I don't like the way that alpha men smell. It makes me feel inferior. It harkens back to ancient times, and I like living in the future, where the meek inherit the earth.
I don't even know what the real definition of meek is. It's just people who have self-control. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, he's a good man because he has only control over himself and not others. Like, okay. Oh dear, I have no idea what this super chat is. I have to read it though. Bog God King, the chef just took a RKO off the steel cage.
My God, King! The chef just took an RKO off the steel cage! He is broken in half! There we go.
Thanks, I think. What?
Glib has gone full crazies.
He clearly is in love. He is beating up everybody around him. He is the ultimate Romeo. The Romeo of the wrestling ring. Two-time champion. 6'8" manhood.
Can I just say that this is infinitely more interesting than the actual video?
Yeah, because
Can we just do... Okay, I want to say that can we just do a stream where it's like nothing but 4 hours of Glib just doing voices from characters in TV, just general, just anything else? That would be more entertaining.
Oh boy, you want to like throw money at Glib? I'm sure he'll dance for you, but you know.
I don't like the fact that people keep
putting chemicals in the water that turn the frogs gay.
Oh dear.
It is her. They're getting married.
Okay, Strawman. No. No, he jumps in the window and then punches the woman in the face, yells, "Be mine," then eats raw red meat and grunts while firing an RPG, 'cause man, what? What are we talking about? Is this did we just invent a story? It's more entertaining than the video? Is that what we're doing?
So, yes.
All right.
I want to say yes.
Yeah. We have 8 minutes left. We're only an hour and 14 minutes in. I think we can speed through this.
You can easily get through it.
But hey, maybe you wouldn't call Okwe some soy boy beta. Maybe that's just what the bad anti-feminists would say. But not you. You're one of the good anti-feminists.
What are you who are you talking to?
Strawman.
He thinks he's talking to the anti-feminists. That's who he's hoping watches this video.
Who don't like his films? What?
Who are the anti-feminists? Who are they? It feels like a really general term for lots of groups of people with different political beliefs, because there are a lot of people who don't like feminism.
Yeah.
Is he talking about normal people? Is that who he's talking about?
I don't know.
Like egalitarian.
Well, imagine if he was saying, talk about like Nazis, for instance. It's like most Nazis think this, but not you. Obviously, you're a good Nazi. I feel like he's trying to. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, try and make people someone who is a quotation marks anti-feminist. Like, say, oh well, you see, if you look around you, the other anti-feminists, they're like really bad people, and they say horrible things. Not you. Obviously, you're a great guy. You should be more like us. Come join us over here.
This got weird really quick. I don't know what he's trying to do here. Lancelot 652. Rip R.I.P. Bob. He got fired from The Escapist.
Did he?
They stopped the Escapist in general because they're not renewing their contract with their parent company. But Bob is still doing his own thing, so he'll just do his videos on YouTube. So yeah, The Escapist got canned. So
can't imagine why.
What?
Yeah, no.
Just now
had
no more Bobbert.
Yay! Same with Yahtzee. Same with whoever else is there. Yeah.
No, but Yahtzee was the only thing keeping them up.
Yeah. I just heard the news a few hours ago, but I don't know the details, so I can't say. But yeah, Escapist is going to go away. All right, Joe Crazy, Glib, it was me, Shiny. It was me all along, Shiny. Okay, what are we talking about?
I have no idea.
Is that a quote from a movie? Yeah, I don't think Glib can do that one. He doesn't know what it is. Oh no, what's this? What is going on? Jake, what is this? Your wife comes to me at night when you're crying yourself to sleep. I'm a genetic freak. You only have a 33 and a 1/3% chance of winning her back compared to my 138% of keeping her. Holler if you hear me. What? What is that? What is
that from?
I do not know.
Do we want to know?
I don't know. You're losing me, guys.
I honestly don't. I really don't want to know. It just sounds like it's nuts.
I mean, sure.
Message coming in.
Thanks, Jake. Those are wrestling quotes?
Yeah.
Really? Wow, wrestling is nuts.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Really? Wrestling is nuts.
Yeah, I don't know wrestling. It's been a while since I was like 7, so I don't know. I don't know what it's like these days. Anyway.
Totally fine who don't perpetuate violence and aggression. I'm not even being facetious. Surely there's some of you out there, right? Even so, there's still one character we need to take a look at before our examination of cinematic masculinity is complete. The last example...
Complete? You haven't started!
Complete?
Look at 3 people! And it's the same person!
Message coming in.
You barely said bugger all about anything.
To look at an example of humanity, I'm going to look at clones, who all which are genetically the same.
You know what this is like? This is like painting a picture on the wall, like a fresco, and he's like using like modern art techniques, like one giant line and one red dot. He's like, I'm almost done. He's like, what the hell is that? What are you painting, sir?
Like, it feels like he's trying to look for fish in the ocean, and what he's doing is getting a little pint glass, and he's slowly scooping up a bit of water at pint glass, and said, "Oh look, okay, yeah, okay, no fish. I'll throw it out, but I'm just gonna keep going." And he's just like looking for fish constantly and not finding anything.
Oh dear, Scott. Here's Jake the Surgeon. The greatest meme factory in wrestling history is Scott Steiner. Really? Huh. I don't know the name, but thank you, sir. Just good to know some background context from whatever the hell you guys are talking about. I don't know wrestling, so.
Example is, of course, my personal favorite performance of Chiwetel Ejiofor's entire career. No video about masculinity or Chiwetel Ejiofor would be complete without it. You've all been expecting it. Here you go.
Why don't you just make a film or a video about this guy you like so much and then talk about why you like him? Wouldn't that be better?
Why does he just piss off?
So now he's going into a movie relating to drag queens.
Yes.
And how that relates to masculinity, which, okay, cool. Your kinks are your kinks.
Yeah.
I don't care. Do whatever you want.
I actually watched...
Maybe that's what this whole video is about.
I actually watched Kinky Boots on stage in Toronto, so it's pretty good. I don't know about the film, though.
Nice.
All I want, all again. Take off your coat. Don't you know you can't win?
Kinky Boots tells the story of Charlie Price, a mile.
I went to get coffee really quick, and I come back, and there's a man cross-dressing. This is exactly where this is going. I knew it.
Everything has led to this.
Which is kind of sad because it's actually a really good musical.
You didn't ask for this. No.
You know, Shakespearean actors were the first cross-dressers. They were progressive.
Yes,
that's true.
True. That's true.
That's true.
Man who inherits a struggling shoe factory.
Yet we never hear about how
The
progressive
factory is deep in
Shakespeare
the red
is.
long before Charlie ever gets his hands on it. But just when he's about to close up shop, he meets Lola, a drag queen performer in desperate need of some tailor-made heels that can stand the weight of a man.
God! Clean off again! Like most things in life, it cannot stand the weight of a man.
After a lot of prodding from his employee Lauren, Charlie recruits Lola to design a whole range of boots for the factory, and hopefully tap into a lucrative niche market. For at least a little while, things seem to be looking up. But then tensions within the town and between the two men threaten to destroy their new business venture.
I'm a Northampton shoe designer, Charlie.
Yeah, you're that as well. You're also a man in a dress.
And their nascent friendship.
For my sake, tomorrow, please turn up looking like the picture on your passport.
God, I love this movie.
How much do you weigh?
The right amount. How much do you drink?
The fact that it's still not on Blu-ray, even 13 years after the debut of the format, is nothing short of a crime against humanity. In hindsight, this whole video could have been an examination of masculinity through just the lens of Kinky Boots.
Wait, whoa. No. Wait a second. Slow down.
Oh, God.
The story of a boy who likes women's shoes growing up and then eventually, doing drag has nothing to... I would... It might talk about gender roles, but that's not masculinity. That's not masculinity. That's a guy liking feminine things. That would be a story about femininity. If it was a girl liking masculine things, and she was a tomboy or a crossdresser or whatever, and then you could talk about her masculine side. That would be masculine. Does this guy know what the hell he's talking about?
I have no idea.
Just because he's a man and he cross-dresses, therefore it's masculine? No. We know what masculinity is. We know what femininity is. We have products. We have name brands. We have entire stores based off men's and women's fashion and products. Whoa. Okay, let's read some super chats before I hurt myself. Jake the Surgeon, I think the actor is, it doesn't matter what you think. Oh God, he just loves this actor. He's going crazy. Alex Halo, Astolfo is more manly than all modern Western media. Oh dear, that's a Fate Apocalyptica reference, but okay, if you say so. Joe Crazy, my quote was from Mr. Mahan when he revealed. Okay. When he revealed himself to be the Undertaker's cult leader to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, jeez. What the hell is going on? The cult leader is a cult? Yeah, that sounds bizarre. Oh, dear. I was happy with Macho Man and Hulk Hogan back in the day. That was enough. I think that was more than enough, actually. Ooh, yeah.
After all, it has more to say about the subject than any other film we've talked about.
You barely talked about the other ones.
I am love, yes.
Ah, that's fine. Just so I know how to leave the toilet seat.
So what can we learn about masculinity from Kinky Boots? Well, first and foremost, that so much of masculinity is mere performance. A fashion. Literally. You know how high heels got their start? They were invented to keep men's feet secure in their riding stirrups. Men started wearing them in portraits once they realized how good they made their calves look, and soon after turned them into a symbol of status and wealth. Women eventually started wearing high heels when femininity started to become associated with extravagance and impracticality. Wild, right?
No.
Message
it's
coming
because of the same reason why the
Patching
men
it
wore
through.
them. It's because it made your calves and your ass look good. You want that ass to look good, baby. Yeah.
Message coming in.
Yeah, and the fact that he mentions the making your ass and your calves look good when he's talking about the men wearing them, it's like, okay, I think you can see where this guy's thoughts are.
Got him.
I don't know if he's homosexual. I don't think he is.
Okay,
Maybe he doesn't.
I just find this very bizarre that he's referencing the, like, what do we call platform shoes? What do we call these in general? Why they
they don't, are they high heels? Is that what he's saying? That these are like the high heels? I don't think that stilettos were something that the founding fathers were wearing.
No, this is like,
we don't know.
We don't need to know the history of women's fashion or where the high heel came from. That doesn't. It's not relevant. If you want to talk about femininity back then that's a whole other topic. Historical references and fashion.
I think what he's talking about is because his statement before that was that masculinity is an act, and then he's talking about the film, how it's basically he's making the argument saying it's all a social construct.
Yeah.
Because that's where he's bringing up the cross-dressing film, because that you have a man who's cross-dressing as a woman, so he's saying it's all an act.
But he hasn't actually discussed what it means to be masculine, so he can't just start jumping into women's shoes or where they originated from. That's silly.
But another thing is that a man can not be masculine. It's possible.
Oh dear. That juicy. All right, Jake the Surgeon. Hello, ladies. The big...
Who the fuck?
What? What?
I think Glib may have accidentally turned on his porn.
No. Come here. Just say hi to everybody. Just say hi to you, because they heard you in the background.
Hi.
Well,
this is Glib's fake girlfriend, right?
This is my female slave.
He's actually my slave.
It's the anti-femmers.
I got a good one to argue with, Shiny.
Well, I have to read some super chats. Let's keep going, okay?
One sec, I have just a question. Does Glib really have a cowboy hat?
Do I really have a cowboy hat?
Of course he does.
Tell him.
If she says no, the illusion is going to be shattered. The illusion is shattered.
Get closer. Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Fucking Glib, you're a phony.
I'm a phony. I'm a fake cowboy, right?
He's like the biggest phony ever. Like the biggest phony ever.
Well, at least
we knew that.
Calls him in bed.
Thank you, baby.
Now.
All right, that's what's going on over here.
Alrighty, thank you, Glib, for that wonderful insight into your personal life. Always a pleasure.
No, I know you didn't want any of that, Smut. You're a classy guy.
You can say whatever you like, Glib, or other people for you. That's cool too. I wasn't expecting that, but that's good.
You know what it is that when he said Saurian, that's his his channel, right? The Saurian thing, because it's referring to dinosaurs. I thought he was referring to Canadians. I like the Saurians over there, eh?
Saurians. Well, that's what he almost went into a rant about, apologizing for not doing enough feminist talking points on his masculine videos. Like, oh, okay. Cover all your bases, sir. Cross those T's.
Traits, please.
Yeah. So Jake the Surgeon made a comment about the Big Valboski. I don't know what. Again, I don't know these terms. I'm guessing it has to do with wrestling again. So I don't know. Alex Halo. The movie needs more Fate Zero Alexander the Great. Yes, it does. If you guys don't know Alexander the Great, he's the most manly man there is in the Fate Zero series, at least. Yes, fantastic character. Joe Crazy. Let's have a pro wrestling story. No, let's not. And check out some of the weirdest storylines.
Message coming in.
I'm the wrong channel for that, sir. I think you're asking the wrong people for that. I think it's more of an American thing, too. We don't have pro wrestlers in Canada, as far as I know.
I don't have cable.
Oh.
And I'm not interested in getting it.
Jake the Surgeon Glib, how could you do this to Shiny? You cheat. Oh, dear. What's Shiny?
You're tearing me apart, Glib.
The world would be a much better place if we learned to love each other.
You're tearing me apart, Glib.
I'm fed up with this world.
It's over.
Everybody betrayed me.
Message coming in.
Everybody betrayed
Patching it through.
Liar!
There we
That's
go.
the Anakin
Cowboy
quote,
is
yeah.
now Space Cowboy is now broken forever.
Okay.
I can never be shipped with Glib. Finally,
we gotta
did it.
Free.
We gotta send Glib a nice Manitoba or Calgarian gallon hat. We'll just send him one of those. That'll work fine. Straight from Canadian leather.
Shipping.
So anyway, how's your clone life?
Anyway, how's your sex life?
Well, I can tell you personally that clone lives do indeed matter.
Wow, Shad, you're an expert.
All right, now we can get back to the boring video.
Yeah, let's go back.
Today's social transgression is yesterday's fashion fad, and vice versa. Other people might argue that
A social transgression. What the hell is this guy talking? Let me just rewind that.
I'll give that to him. I'll give that, like, there's always people that are trying to push the limit of something.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I just think it's funny. Like, the idea that men's calves looked better was something that people desired in that time period. And then nowadays, if that is the case, it appeals to somebody who is trying to be more feminine, because we've identified that it produces beauty for the female form. So
Message coming in.
I really think that when we
Patching
get into
it
the
through.
dichotomy of the sexes, it's about showing off attractive traits to whatever you're trying to show off to. If it's society, or if it's somebody else,
Yes.
or if it's for yourself in the mirror, whatever it is. But I think that it's funny how self-limiting his argument is about femininity and masculinity when it comes to looks, because isn't that what goes against his argument in general?
Well, if we look at the concept of koinophilia, which is the attraction of the same likeness of traits across all your experiences. So if you look at women or men, you say, okay, I like the average of all these experiences. And when we look at specific male and female traits, even the women find the feminine traits more attractive. So there's something about the female body type, the female image, that this was a study done about 20 years ago where they took slightly renderedly combined faces of chin types, like how pointed the chin was, how full the cheeks were, how the eyebrow ridge on masculine people was more prominent. And it seems as if everyone in the study, about 80%, if not, I think the 86th percentile, liked the female image more. And these are traits of the female face, etc. So that's the basic concept of koinophilia. We see that in the animal kingdom. They take phenotypes which are more
Message coming
common in the tribe
Patching it
or
through.
their family. So they don't go for external or wildly diverse phenotypes. So people with mutations or missing an arm or this or that. So it's very simple, basic stuff. But we're not even getting into the science of this. We're not talking about the social aspects of this. He just started talking about shoes. And we're like, okay, yeah. I think lots of frilly stuff was happening in the 16th century with the chemise and shoes and pantaloons and what have you. Lots of really colorful stuff was being worked out as they got more products and silks and various other elements to make these things. And they had a whole fashion industry. You had the aristocracy.
Message coming in.
So
patching it through.
It's like this throughout history. So, but he has to address that. He's just jumping into shoes. And you're like, okay, Elizabethan era had shoes. Yep, your point. Oh dear. Glib
Scottish had really girly girl dresses. So
they had.
Maybe that just says more about the Scottish.
You know more about the Scottish? Yeah, no, they had lots of wonderful kilts and very embroidered dresses for the ladies. Yeah, you're right. Glib has self-aware porn. Make me a sandwich and do the dishes. That's kind of cool, Glib. Oh yeah.
Well, we sure know that Glib is the only one that's actually getting stuff. So
like sandwiches. Yeah, sandwiches. Best porn is sandwich and clean house too. Oh my god.
Well, that is true. That's how I know I'm getting older. That's what I fetishize. I'm like, oh my goodness, a good sandwich sounds really good right now.
Mm-hmm. Good on you, Glib. Good on you.
All right.
I never intended for that to come out, but it's just such a funny environment. So
Glib has come out. He is in fact straight. He's finally out of the closet now.
Well, now I have to hide myself from society because society is against my orientation.
Oh no! Here's a Weibo super chat. In case you guys don't know what's going on, I'll explain it to you. Clone or Misaka clone lives matter. Oh dear. That's it's a little known anime I think called Index. So yeah, don't worry about it. We'll just keep on going. Check the search. I would give by black. What? I would give by black. Oh, I'd give my black tainted soul for a wrestling cast to see Smud confused by the bizarre world of wrestling.
Oh, that'd be good. I would.
You see,
absolutely.
The Canadians don't really punch each other.
I think we should. Go on. Sorry, you cut out. You keep.
No, I was going to take. I'm not rendering anymore. I don't know why I'm cutting out. But I was making jokes about how Canadians don't fight. So the Canadians don't punch each other. They just don't understand it.
They fight with their brains like Smud.
I was thinking that it would be fun to do a stream where it was like a chat suggestion stream that had nothing to do with anything. Just everybody in chat that has something that Smudcast wants to look at, we can just like lightning round them. You know what I mean? Here's 5 minutes of this. Here's 5 minutes of that.
Sure.
And then we can go over the things and then move on to something new. You know what I mean?
I kind of just want like a random discussion stream. We just sit down. We don't cover a video. We just talk about tangents for like a long time.
What I could do is
coming in.
Get chat from live stream as well as Discord, and we could show them both on the screen and say which is cool. What do they want us to do? And we'll reference stuff. We'll turn some off. Go to the watch together. Watch whatever they want. Yeah, we could do that for fun on a weekend. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
This is great.
Everybody's on board.
I like it. Hey, Glib, how do those bigot sandwiches taste?
Tastes pretty good. I don't know.
Damn straight, sir.
I mean, out of all the people in that game, that guy had the most clear arc where he went from being reactive and dismissive to trying to make amends. And then the main character of the game is just all like, and that's supposed to be that's the reaction that is like seen as the positive reaction. Like you're supposed to react to somebody that has a bigoted statement that wants to apologize to you in a dismissive fashion. And that to me is like, how are you ever supposed to have reconciliation for somebody or with somebody if you're just going to be dismissive like that? That's kind of like
character, fat girl.
Well, obviously, yeah. He doesn't have a good arc, though. He's just consistent.
He has one role.
Hi, Carol.
He has one role,
That's
has to
just
punch
a
someone.
Message coming in.
All right, Jake the
Patching
Surgeon.
it through.
A Canadian invented a flipping pile driver. Oh my God, called the Canadian
There's a bunch of
Destroyer.
them, yeah. Roddy Piper, Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, Edge. They're all Canadian.
Bret Hart.
Trish Stratus, I think.
Yes.
No,
No,
I'm pretty
not
sure,
Stratus.
yeah.
Not Stratus. What's the other one? The other blonde from years ago.
No, she's Canadian.
Stratus?
Trish is from Toronto.
Really?
Yeah.
See Keebler? Stacey
People,
Keebler?
the meme is that Canada is all like docile and all like, oh, I'm sorry. But really, Canada is like, every time I go and watch one of those true crime stories, it's either Florida, Texas, or Canada. I'm like, wow, crazy shit's happening in Saskatchewan again.
Message coming in.
Guy in Toronto completely massacred his wife and his family. He cut off their heads and flushed them down the toilet.
Seriously, one of those Canadian brewers, that happened, basically.
I thought it was Tory Wilson. I could have been wrong. Anyway, I guess Stratus is fine. Whatever. It's fine. I don't know what I'm
I
talking
just want to
about.
imagine some American or British mobster just kind of looks at that. It's like, holy fuck, what's wrong with him?
There's a lot of serial killers in Canada. It's true, yeah.
You're just so nice on the exterior, but on the interior, you're just absolutely horrific.
They're all from Quebec, yeah, I know.
You just kind of stuff it all down, and then you just explode in violent rage.
Pretentious Frenchies.
all that maple syrup you eat.
The cheese and the bacon. And, yeah, the maple syrup is just, that's a weekend for us.
A steak.
Evar Jantz, you guys seriously underestimate yourselves. A lot of us would be happy just hanging out with you guys on stream. You know what? I have nothing wrong with jumping into a public Discord voice chat and letting you guys in for here and there. That'd be fine. We can answer some questions.
Well, I think he meant like just us sitting in discussion, like I was suggesting before.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
Unless
too.
he is calling about a call-in stream.
I don't mind doing both because we have the time and you guys seem to like it. Plus, I'd like to get you guys more airtime and do more things online as opposed to just critiquing a crazy video, which we've lost interest in already. So, yeah. But no,
at the moment,
I wanted
the content we're covering, it just feels very. Stupid. A lot of it can feel very samey and stupid, and it doesn't really feel like by the end of it we're saying anything new.
Right. Like I want to do BB's video. Like I know he recommended at least 2 or 3, and we haven't got around to him yet. Like I'd like to do just one with him. I want to do one with voice. He's really involved in.
Oh no! I want to invite the rest of these guys if we're going to do one of my videos.
Oh yeah.
In particular, the Liana K one where she talks about game journals. She mentions because I recommended it because Glib and Shiny got into an argument about computers, and she mentions in her video. Now I can't back this up. All I heard was what was in the video. She says apparently you can run Windows 10 through Linux or something like that.
Patching it through.
And I'm like, I'm gonna have to defer to those two guys about that.
You can, yeah.
Well, you can, you can.
Okay, I don't know. She was just
you can
spawning
create
like
a virtual
nonsense
computer.
Yeah, it's a
I don't know
VM.
why you'd want to run Linux, but you can run a virtual computer on your computer.
Yeah, you could dual boot, but I mean, if you're doing that, just buy a new box, have a dedicated Linux machine, whatever you're using it for, with the server or web dev or whatever you like. I don't know, like Ubuntu or something like that, and that'd be great. But it depends what you want, how powerful your machine is to handle all that. Those two BIOS, but not BIOSes, the kernels. So it's really up to why you want to dual boot. It's kind of silly. If you use VMs, that's a whole other story. So
now I'm just trying to remember what me and Glib were arguing about when it came to computers.
Oh God, don't.
I don't remember either.
Please don't remember that.
we just argue about a lot of things.
You guys just don't stop for 10 minutes. Like, what did they talk? Oh, 40 minutes. Oh, 50. Okay, come on. Let's go.
I bet Glib's even the person that would want pineapple on pizza.
Okay, let's not go that
pineapple
crazy.
on pizza. What are you talking about? I'll eat pineapple on pizza if at the pizza party it's. Here's the thing. I go to get the pizza at the pizza party, right?
Shiny.
And I want a pepperoni pizza, but I open up the box and there's a almost full pizza that has ham and pineapple because nobody's eating it except for the one guy that ordered it, like an asshole. So I feel like a jerk if I take 2 slices of this pepperoni. So I take 1 pepperoni slice because I know other people want it, and then I, like a hero, like a champion, take that pineapple pizza. I take that hit for the crew. You know what I mean? I will carry that weight. I will eat that terrible pineapple pizza for you, the people.
That's very masculine of you.
Is it?
Okay, so me and Glib do agree on something. That pineapple does not belong on pizza.
I think we agree on a lot of things. I think that the idea that we disagree is less valid than we argue about stuff, which is just, who has the right perspective on this?
It's probably more semantics or perspectives, or it just ends up being... probably because we do butt heads, it makes us look like we disagree on more things than we actually do, yeah.
I like the part where if one of us is right, then Smudcast wins. So any argument, Smudcast wins.
I'm just in the background.
The house always wins.
Please stop.
Exactly.
Guys, make
Smud
your own
is Mr.
pizza.
House.
Put your own ingredients on. You'll be very happy. Okay, no problems. All right.
Yeah, just don't put pineapple on my pizza. You jerk.
When you find a nice girl and she wants pineapple on pizza, guess what, Glib? You're going to put pineapple on your pizza, okay? Joe Crazy. You can't forget about Chris Silenced by WWE. I have no idea what that's a reference to. World Wrestling Entertainment? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Oh, there's a joke. Oh, I love that. Not Smudcast, Diet EFAP. Oh, that was great.
Oh, what can you do?
That was hilarious.
What can you do?
Jake the Surgeon. Okay.
Embrace the meme. That's what we do.
Trish is more than fine. The people I'd make disappear to make her mine could not be measured by human means. Oh, wow. You really like that girl. Okay. All right.
She's a very attractive lady.
That's good to hear. But we got 5 minutes left here, so we're going to keep going.
When femininity to become associated with extravagance and impracticality. Wild, right? Today's social transgression is yesterday's fashion fad, and vice versa. Other people might argue that men are naturally predisposed to wear demure, muted colors. But, not in the animal kingdom. Hell, not in the 1970s. Men aren't supposed to wear dresses? Tell me the functional difference between a skirt and a kilt. The most ironic thing about this for me is that the people who write 10,000 word op-eds about how nail polish is just for girls are the same people going around insisting that gender is this innate biological absolute. Oh, really? So where is...
Wait, whoa, slow down here.
Message coming in.
Okay, sex is. Gender is mutable, I guess.
Did we just go from masculinity to just saying all genders are across the spectrum?
It's like he's saying, I would agree to an extent that, yeah, society does change, because now a dress is more a feminine thing, but it used to be lots of combat skirts that a lot of, societies would wear, everyone from kilts to Scottish. But I don't know, maybe the dress says more about the Scottish. But it's like, yeah, the dresses and stuff can change, but a lot of the strengths and ideals of masculinity are pretty much stayed. Partly because the ideas of masculinity is sort of like not like the physical things you're wearing, like the actual traits. Like strength, bravery, blah blah blah. We're not going to get to that discussion right now, but it's usually things which do derive from stuff which would have been very appealing naturally. Like bravery is very attractive to a partner, and it's a very good thing to have in, I don't know, as a caveman or a less evolved version of humanity.
We can go all across the board, as an analytic should, when we're talking about a topic as giant as a role or a characterization. So masculine traits, males tend to protect females. Heroism is one of them. Strength, endurance, those sorts of things. So large, bulky.
Yeah, but those haven't changed. Those are the same. The dresses, sure, okay, fine, and high heels, they've changed, but not the ideas.
So we're talking about personality traits, behavioral traits, physical things like clothing and fashion. Mm-hmm. There's so many levels to this. And he's just jumping around talking about things he finds not necessarily masculine or feminine. He's just bringing them up willy-nilly without actually having a train of thought. So if you were to write
even talking about movies now.
We were talking about movies, then we jumped into anti-feminists, and then we're talking about males' rights or men's rights active. Like, where is he going with this? You see, if one of us were to sit down and write an essay or a PowerPoint or whatever, say, okay, I'm going to define masculinity. I'm going to do it in 5 different ways. the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they sound, what they dress historically, et cetera, over the years, and personality traits like the virtues and this and that. That would be it. That would be a simple way of putting it. And then we look at all that in media, film, comics, whatever. Go crazy. That would work. This is just, well, here's a picture of a guy with nail polish. You're like, okay, yeah, guys can do that.
So, I don't care. It's his choice. He can do whatever he wants.
Are we going to talk about transsexual or intersexual people? We could, but what are you defining as masculine then? Like, do you have to then analyze?
This is all part of it. No, but this is all part of its argument, saying it's all, societal. It's a social construct.
He hasn't said that.
On about.
He hasn't said that.
No. He's heavily implying that. This was effeminate yesterday, or this was masculine the other day, and now it's feminine, and now it's feminine. Right. Masculine. It's not masculine at all, and he's trying to imply that things change, and it's all. Again, I've already forgotten what the term I use now, where it's all social construct.
Right. Well, he hasn't done a definition, therefore we can't minimalize anything he said to a definitive point, which is problem. Because once you have an actual golden rule or whatever solid definition, then you say, okay, can I throw this at anything? Does it stick? And it should. If it's not, then it's a bad definition and we have to revise it. So he didn't even do that. He didn't do any of the hard work. He didn't do any analytical thinking. He didn't do any references. All he did was find his favorite movies, say, this is a guy, he's in 4 of his films he's in, and here's a fifth one where he's a drag queen. And you're like, so what? What's feminine about him? What's masculine about him? What does it mean? He's not giving us what we want, which is the meaning behind this whole goddamn topic. I mean, I could have taken 2 minutes and answered this question if he wanted. Anyway.
Yeah, let's just let him play.
Joe Crazy. Glib is the hero we don't deserve, but he is the one we need. Okay. Because he doesn't like pineapple? I don't. Jake the Surgeon?
Oh, because he's the one eating the pineapple so others don't have to.
Okay.
You don't deserve this kind of punishment, but you need it to be motivated to be better than me.
I like pineapple. I don't know about you. I like pineapples. They're great tropical fruits. Anyway. Jake,
pineapples are good. You know what's really good are coconuts, but that's an aside.
This is true. Jake the Surgeon. We're not going to do a food stream, by the way. That's crazy. We'll be here forever. Jake the Surgeon.
We should do a review stream for one of those tonal videos, the downward thrust cooking show. We should talk about that. We can do a Smudcast on downward thrust, but one of the ones where he's like doing the Geralt food or whatever.
Okay. I'm pretty hardcore on cooking, so I'll probably.
He's good. He's really good. So I think that'd be good. We could probably even have him on sometime. We should ask him. We should do a cooking stream with Tonald.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Foodcast with 2 U's.
Don't poke the bear, guys. I'm just telling you right now. If we start talking about food, I'll get all French on you. So all right. Anyway, Jake the Surgeon.
Every food a pause.
every food a rant, more or less.
I would watch that. I don't know about you, chat. You would watch Smudcast go off on it, right? I mean, Smud Chef.
I would
obviously.
I would bring on my chef friends. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I don't know about you guys. I would tune into that. I would super chat in on that one.
All right.
Anyway, I don't want to get any.
Let's keep on going.
Piss Smud off here.
There's only one kind of spectrum in this video. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
And he falls right on it.
He covers the entire spectrum. Yeah. Joe Crazy. Chris Benoit was a famous wrestler who committed a double murder-suicide due to steroid abuse. Oh, wow. And head injuries. In order to save face, WWE basically wiped him from their history. Wow. Scary stuff.
Yeah, that was sad because Chris was a pretty interesting wrestler. He had some interesting signature moves, and he would have been one of the Hall of Famer types, but then that happened.
Okay.
The mani-pedi gene. So all this begs the question, if so much of masculinity is performance, which qualities are
Okay, so performance is one element.
I just said there, he's talking about it. He's saying it's all, societal control.
These are social norms. So you're raised to act and sound and walk and talk a certain way, which is fine, which is totally normal. But that's not all there is to it, to being masculine. unless you're just looking at the external aspects and saying, you know, what I get from my senses, as opposed to the ideas of masculinity, like strength and endurance and innate qualities.
Intrinsically male. At the end of Kinky Boots, Lola saves Charlie's shoe factory by putting on a catwalk show to end all catwalk shows. This after Charlie had called Lola to apologize for insulting him earlier.
I don't know what the hell a man is, but I know that if it involves being brave, you are more of a man than I will ever be.
Okay, so here again, we're talking about a element of a character, a personal trait, like one of the virtues, which is throughout all the storytelling, and we want to see these in our characters. So he's not talking about specifically masculinity, but we can attribute that masculine element, or to a masculine element. So courage. Men protect women. This is pretty standard stuff, right? They're stronger than women. They get in the way of danger. And they protect them from harm. So in this case, they're appealing to his inner characteristic, his personality element that makes them change. This is a scene where Lola is going to leave the town because she's no longer wanted. She has nothing to do. And he calls her, or him, and says, "Hey, I'm sorry." And that immediately causes her to turn around and go back. That's all she wanted, was for him to be accepted by his business partner. And that was that. So she comes back to the runway, and she brings all her friends with her who are men, and they dress up in these wonderful shoes they were trying to sell, and they do their catwalk. It's a great part of the film. Is that masculine? No, I would say no.
How do you like the construction of this film being almost exactly the same as a sports story where you have to save the recreation center by winning the big game or whatever?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I need you to save my shoe company. You have to come in here, and if you do this show, then it's the most like basic Hollywood structure. You know what I mean? Win the game, and you win the big day, and you get the girl, and all that stuff. It's just changed over to give this wish fulfillment thing where it's like, guess what? Cross-dressing saved the day.
I know it's kind of bizarre in that regard, because it's as if there's this hidden aspect of society where men like dressing up as women, and there's all these buyers, you know, like these people in the closet, and they just can't wait to buy really sexy shoes for girls. You're like, okay, I mean, why not? Sure, I don't care. Buy whatever you like, guys.
Yeah, why not? I don't think that there's much of a backlash to that stuff when you have stuff like Drag Queen Story Hour or whatever.
And it's a very innocent
especially
thing.
when there are these kinds of shows all the time in my city. So I don't know. Well, not since COVID, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, this is a good way of telling that story, because we're talking about something innocent like shoes, and everyone needs shoes, and it doesn't matter whether it's women's shoes or this or that. Nowadays, we don't really care what people wear. If you walk down the street in Toronto, when you used to walk down the street in Toronto, you saw guys wearing mink coats in the summertime and all sorts of different things, like, because metrosexual was the thing. It still is. So it doesn't really bother.
Stylish.
Yeah, it doesn't bother people. It's like, yeah, it's not completely male and female clothing mixed match. It's just this style thing, and you got guys dressing up with goatees looking very feminine. So that's that. It doesn't bother anyone. But you still have to identify, what does it mean to be a man nowadays? I think that's a very good discussion to have, but we're not even getting close to that in this video. We're just talking about this other movie because it has a trans guy in it, or a transsexual. What is it? No, a transsexual, essentially. He's just dressing up as a woman and feeling excited about it. Like I don't know about the movie. In the stage production, it shows him as a boy, loving girls' things, like liking the shoes and walking around in high heels. And they thought, oh, he's a cute kid, he's playing around, whatever. But he actually really liked shoes. So.
An indiscriminate viewer might come away with the impression that bravery is the inherently masculine trait in question, and that Lola is masculine because he is brave. But I personally think this moment is really just a tender reconciliation between two friends.
Don't think that's why I came.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, it's a simple story. It's nothing overly complicated. But if he's talking about masculinity and he has the masculine lens, you have to use it properly. And we're looking at a man with feminine characteristics. So what are you doing? If this was a feminine lens, you'd be talking about the feminine. And that would be accurate, because there's evidence from the film or from the story to do so. With the masculine lens, there's really not that much. Maybe courage to save something? That's the plot. That's the goal. Again, this guy is going up a creek without a paddle. We don't know what he's trying to look for. We don't know what's guiding the boat.
Charlie just alleging that his earlier anger came from a place of fear and self-doubt, not, say, facts and logic. I think the movie's real thesis on manhood comes earlier, when Lola repeatedly asks factory worker Dunn to define manhood.
Why don't you write down what you think would make me more of a man, and I'll write down what I think would make you more of a man.
Dunn never writes anything down, but he does challenge Lola to an arm wrestling competition, which Lola goes ahead and lets him win.
Oh, what a Mary Sue is just good at everything.
Look at that fucking arm. No way.
No way we let her win. There's a large disparity in turn.
Well,
unless he gets like a technique.
But I love the idea that like it all boils down to an arm wrestling contest, and then the Nick Frost wins, and that's somehow denying this other person's masculinity or something. So
Well-
it's like, does that mean that being strong with your upper body and having strong arms is a masculine trait? If so, what is the problem with that?
Well, what ends up
Like
happening?
it's hard. Sorry, go on.
What ends up happening in the stage production is he's aware that Lola was going to win, and Lola purposely loses, and he feels kind of bad about that because, like, oh, you were the stronger person. So at the end, he reconciles with Lola, and he ends up going on stage as well on the catwalk, dressed up as a woman and whatever, which is kind of goofy. I don't know if they do that in the movie, but it's like, okay, this is how they bonded, and these are two guys bonding over strength. So I'm like, all right, that could be a masculine thing. How is it? I want to know how it's masculine, though. Are feats of strength or competitions a masculine thing? Not necessarily, but they could be. Historically, they could be for sure.
Seems like you can't win. Like if you think that it's a physical bout of strength, then you can't win. If you think that it's being a gentleman or whatever, you can't win. It's like, this is just like,
yeah,
it's frustrating because if you are born a way and you agree with that way and you're brought up in that way and it all makes sense to you, and the addition of these other things like dressing up in drag or whatever, you know what I mean, this guy thinks that is toxic masculinity or whatever. What is it that is inherently bad about that? I don't even think he's brought that up. Like, I think he said masculinity where if you're like going around being a madman and shooting everybody as a terrorist is a bad thing. But that doesn't apply to a sex role. That could be anybody. Anybody could shoot somebody in the back of the head. It doesn't matter what race, religion,
Right.
sex, whatever it is, identity. So it's frustrating to hear this constant slander against manhood and masculinity without defining exactly what it is that makes something a masculine trait versus a feminine trait. And this is just obfuscating it more by having a guy dressing up like a woman, but then still engaging in masculine behavior. Because the message there to me is, yeah, I dress up like this, but I'm still a man. But also, you should regard me as what I want to be regarded as.
Which
And
is-
I think that heavy-handed thing is like, most people go, all right, you know what? I'll call you what you want. We can have it however way that you want it to be. Just don't mess up my lane. Don't come into my lane and fuck up my shit. If we, it's as somebody who doesn't have a problem with any of this stuff inherently, as someone that's just like, all right, you go do you and I'll do me, and then there we go. I don't understand why I have to be hit with this kind of messaging,
Right.
As if like I'm doing something wrong.
The ending of the film, or rather the whole film is predicated on this aspect of men in the closet, and they all come out to see this show of products they want that are inherently for that niche audience. So it's assumed that, oh, this is part of society, and there's a marketplace for it. So all these other little conflicts along the way. This could be a story about a bunch of women in the military, and they could be having an arm wrestle. It'd be the same idea. Is that masculine? No, they're two women, but they're obviously doing masculine things. It's like, well, they're in the military. That's the whole point, is to show how strong you are and how much you can endure and how disciplined you are. So that would be an element of the military training, not an aspect of femininity per se. So with this, the whole point is not Lola is a transsexual. It's just she's an individual, and she wants to save this factory. And this guy and all the people in the factory here all want to save the factory. They're all gung-ho. They don't care what the product is. They don't care who it's for. They're going to make really good shoes for the buyers. And the buyers happen to be a very niche audience. That's it.
Sounds like a Family Guy episode.
Oh,
Come
yeah?
on, Brian. We got to dress up in drag and save the factory.
Exactly, yeah.
Peter, that's really offensive these days, Peter.
Or, what do you want me to do? Dress in drag and do the hula?
Hey, Lois. I look like you.
We then find out what Lola thinks Dunn could do to be more of a man.
Change your mind about someone.
One of my personal favorite quotes comes from Alice S. Rossi. To avoid intellectual sterility, it is wise to periodically re-examine our most deeply held presuppositions. The ability to change one's mind is a borderline superpower. That's how you become...
Wait. How did we get here? How did we get here, sir?
How the fuck did we get here?
I say no. That is sodding stupid. It is.
We went from a movie about masculine and male and female roles, I guess, to suddenly you have to open your mind to new ideas. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, and we have to all be non-anti-feminists or whatever the hell it is.
An adult by opting your behavior in the face of new evidence. That's it. That's everything. If I could encourage anyone, anywhere, to adopt just one trait to become a better person, that would be it. A proud inclination to change one's mind. But of course, a willingness to change one's mind isn't an inherently masculine trait. And that's the point. Nothing is.
Wait, stop.
Nothing's a masculine trait. No, there's no at all. None.
This is silly. If we have the term, there's a definition for it. Use the definitions and look at them. He's not even doing this because he doesn't even think it exists. I know that social constructs exist. I don't use them because they're stupid. I don't use that argument. I make fun of people when I use it because it's so silly. But I know they exist. I don't deny their existence. We have this idea of masculinity. We have this idea of femininity. We do it. We do it when we look at a woman. We go, that's a woman. That's a guy. Like we just innately see it. What about that reaction is it? What is it? The muscles? Is it doing something strong? Is it the smell? What is it? Tell us.
Message coming in.
He can't give us the basic senses, the basic stimuli of these things. What good are you, sir? These people would never, ever succeed academically in any field. Mark in 3D. But how can we change his view? Don't even bother with that.
I don't want to because I don't care.
Well, no.
You can't change his view.
It's this weird mentality of like, I have the right virtuous statement here, which is about opening your mind. It's like, how about I show you the definition of words and what they mean and examples in various cultures throughout history. It's like, oh no, but it's just a social construct. It's like, yes, and those have existed for thousands of years.
What were you going to suggest? Level-headedness? Luke wasn't level-headed. A desire to be in control? The
But you can be more or less masculine.
Disposable. Aggression?
He's picking random traits now, random behavioral patterns.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it never was.
Even if these were masculine traits, that you can be more masculine or less masculine. It's a level. You can have more of these traits or less of these traits.
How about being a psychopath? Well, no, that's being a psychopath. Murdering 5 people, that's being a murderer or a serial murderer. That maybe if you like crush someone with your bicep, I don't know, that might be masculine. Oh my goodness. Let's pick up random personality traits and just argue that they're not masculine. That's right. Category A does not fit into box X.
But that means nothing's masculine.
It doesn't exist.
Aggressive. Strength? Oakway wasn't strong. Okay, how about just masculinity? Surely we can all agree that masculinity is an inherently masculine trait, right?
Oh my God. Is this the A equals A argument? Without defining what A is? Word I can't
That
define
sounded
equals
really
word.
stupid.
This is so dumb. I'm going to talk about astrophysics. Planet X is equal to planet X. Sir, what's planet X? It's a theoretical. A theoretical what? A planet of what? What's on planet X, sir? Holy jeez.
But Lola, see, was feminine.
Yes, that's right. What's your point?
See, what we call gender is basically just a collection of anecdotal averages. None of them...
No, sir.
Again, I'm telling you, he's doing this whole social construct thing.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So does that mean I go throughout life, I have random experiences, and from the average of that experience, I have this image of a woman? Even if I did.
Biology exists. Biology exists
Yeah.
and determines a lot more than people give credit. And this really all comes down to people that are upset that not everything is a blank slate that you can socially condition or intellectually orient. Some things are natural and biological, and they hate that because that unveils the fact that everything that they built their worldview on is a post-industrial revolution worldview that doesn't take into consideration survival and everyday realities of existing in the world, what existence actually is. It's not a perfect utopia, it's actually an imposition. And so we have to survive, and we've managed to create civilization in that environment. And instead of deconstructing it and breaking it down into a place where everything is, it's not even a permissive society, it's just everything is subjective and doesn't have any kind of value system except for what you want to socially progress. I think that people need to be aware of that reality because not everything is a social construct.
I remember the social science that Jordan Peterson was referring to. We have societies that have these the opportunity for people to be whatever they want, and in the extremes, they show that most women end up becoming nurses than men. Most men end up becoming engineers than women. And that's within an idealized society where every opportunity is available. You have all the same education for the same people. I think it was in Norway or whatever they did the study at. So, and we look at why that is, and it's largely based on environment and biology. And then we say these people are, we think of nurses generally as women. We do. I've met some great male nurses in my time as well, but most of them have been women. Joe Crazy, XX and XY chromosomes, what are those? Yeah, I don't know. Androgens, estrogens, who knows what those
Message coming in. Patching it through.
All right, we got 2 minutes. We can do it.
Prescriptive. Might typically bench press more than women. Might typically...
No. They do. It's not typical.
It's, they physically do.
They physically do, yeah.
It's on, like, the majority of men. There are exceptions, like female bodybuilders like Jenna Layug, technically a few, like someone like Gwendolyn Chrisley, who's 6'3" and is like pretty fit. There are exceptions, but it's on average, and majority of men are stronger than the majority of women. Just certain biological
it takes more effort for a woman to gain a certain level of strength, especially in the bodybuilding.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is not even an argument. We're just like, this is fact. We're like, yep, okay, these things happen. There are patterns and there are averages for males and females. This is true.
Sport more testosterone. Might typically have penises, but not always.
What?
Never always. Never always can find any of these traits in all men.
What is this? This testosterone thing making penises?
We're in that last 2 minutes of insanity part where what they really think and what the mask comes off. It's like, hey, all of this means that men and women, they're just social constructs, dude.
You know what?
The biology isn't real.
If you
Besides, even if it is, these people exist. Look at these people that are caught in between.
If he studied zygote development the first 4 months, just talk to a doctor. Talk to a bio student in first year. See what they say. Okay. Where did penises come from? They'll give you lots of answers.
And absent in all women. The only reason these traits ever skew in one direction anyway is because that's what has to happen.
A penis is not a trait, sir. Okay?
It's a physical characteristic.
Oh, God. My pee-pee as a social construct.
Typically, men have penises. Yes, thank you. We get it.
Typically, black people are darker skinned, but not always. Not always.
Stating the obvious, bub. Thank you for stating the obvious.
The data when you sample into a binary, of which gender isn't. That's not even up for debate at this point. Even the most dyed-in-the-wool conservatives of my youth told me
everything's
I
up for
too much
debate.
like a girl for their liking. So even they agree that gender presents on some sort of spectrum. There will always be women who can outlift men, who are faster than men, braver, smarter, better leaders, who look cooler in leather jackets. There's always going to be.
So does that mean that they are manly? What does that mean?
Frickin' care.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit, homie.
I don't care. This doesn't affect anything.
You know what?
This is just stupid.
He could have said, "What even are pancakes?" But he never defines what a pancake is. He doesn't know what they taste like. He doesn't know how they are made.
Well, it's the consistency of his brain. It is.
It is very soft in the brain.
And then he starts talking about waffles, and you're like, "Why are we talking about waffles?"
He admits that he thinks that Joshua David Bellin is a good writer, even though the man is a crazy racist Islamophobe, sexist, leftist, crazy nutbag.
Jesus.
Nice. Racking up some serious points there.
Yeah,
he's covered all the bases.
Yeah, he is. Like, he thinks that King Kong is an analogy for black rapists in the 1930s wanting to white women.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
I thought it was. This the whole time I've been right.
Why we can't have African immigrants because King Kong.
It all makes sense.
Okay.
If you're crazy.
Yeah. Or that Wizard of Oz is an exemplary of class conflict.
What?
Sure. Why not?
People
We're joking.
As men
But I'm not.
Yeah, we know that crazy book you got there.
going.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And that's fine. The averages say nothing about anyone's value. The averages say nothing about your value. Take it from me. I grew up with all the traditional notions of masculinity and gender binary.
Your
He's
parents
going
must
to
be
the
so
idea of
proud of you.
stereotypes. No, but he's got those ideas of stereotypes, but I think most people know that just because there are stereotypes of a man, it doesn't mean that all men are this stereotype. Because a stereotype is just something which is very common in, men. A lot of men like football, so it's a stereotype men like football, American football, and whatever for the rest of the world calls football. So, but that doesn't mean all men like football, and everyone already fucking knows this. You'd have to be an idiot to not know this.
Right. We're not even talking about association. We're just talking about masculinity, but he hasn't defined it yet, so we don't know where he's reaching.
Exactly. We have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. What's the question? What even is masculinity according to cinema? Well, you didn't answer the question.
Didn't even come
So
close.
basically, you basically filibustered answering the question. By basically, I guess the point is to say, it doesn't even exist. It's not even a thing. It's just whatever, dude.
I think that's the whole point of this video, is to define it as nothing, because he didn't have a definition to begin with, and he just shows, here's 5 films with the same actor doing different things. And you're like, yes, and what? And he asks us the question, what is masculine in these things? It's like, I don't know. You tell me. That you're the video maker. That's why we're here. You ask the question, what even is masculinity? That's the title. Tell us. Show us. Nope. Nothing. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Oh. So it's a social construct. We're just making shit up as we go. Really? All right. Just say that for 2 minutes. Doesn't exist.
So comforting.
Here are 5 videos I watched with the same actor. This guy, he plays a transvestite. This one, he plays a surgeon. This one, he plays a jiu-jitsu guy. It's like, okay, yeah, and it doesn't exist because I said so. It's like, all right, that's a really weak argument, but at least, you got it succinctly done without wasting, 24 minutes of our life here. I mean, it's not hard to define the term and show examples and why those examples are good or bad or right or wrong.
And they never made me feel like a better person. They only ever produced agonizing anxieties and devastating self-doubts, a chronic fear that
That's not the fault of the definition or what society might consider to be a good trait. Let's say, you're going to be as a boy growing up, protect your sister, or don't talk down to women, don't talk down to your mother, treat women with respect. Those are good things. Where did this negativity come about? Looking healthy or being athletic or being attractive. There's nothing wrong with working out. It's good for you.
But that would be more on his own.
Yes.
Like the idea is it's kind of on the fat phobic line of the whole fat acceptance, where it's like, oh, because I have a problem, that means that I need to. Everyone else should fit to appeal to me, because he's then going on about the dysmorphia. Oh, I'm never really going to be man enough. That kind of line. Where it says, well, everyone else should not appeal to these because I had this issue. And it's like, yeah, that's the issue that you made. It's your issue.
Yeah, and you have to go through your life figuring out what is a healthy lifestyle. What is the right time to go to bed? What is the right time to eat? How much should I eat? How long? What kinds of exercise should I do? What is a good mental health state to be to talking to someone who's angry with you? These are all great life questions you have to go through. So a lot of that's influenced by your environment. So if people are telling you crazy things like you're not a man because you don't look like whatever, I don't know who's saying that, but I don't think that's what's happening here. He's actually saying, oh, I watch so many damn movies. I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, therefore I'm less of a man, or something like that. I'm guessing, because his entire argument is look at movie good. I think.
wasn't measuring up to someone else's standard of who I was supposed to be. In fact, it wasn't until I shed such notions that I was finally able to cultivate my own strength as I
Yeah, okay, so just forget about trying to be healthy or exercise or think about looking good or being healthy and feeling it. And just, don't. Just eat chips and watch TV all day and, I don't know, play games, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Let go of all your problems. Yeah, just forget about them.
I have a question. Do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger has problems like this?
He's too busy counting the hours.
Like, I don't think I'm man enough.
Schwarzenegger's like, it's been 4 hours since I last did some pumps. I got to go back and do my legs. Then I'm going to do some curls.
All the time.
Look, this is... Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I think Arnold did an interview recently or somewhere where he talked about, like, he put up pictures of, like, weightlifters and bodybuilders in his room when he was a kid because, and he used that as inspiration to become, what he was. He said, however, though, when my mother walked into the room, she was a little confused. And I had pictures of well-built men on my wall. He did actually do like an interview recently where he talked about, he mentioned that. I think it was like Graham Norton or something like that, where he talked about that.
Yeah, he wanted to
they were inspiration.
Yeah, he had these pictures on his ceiling. Every time he'd wake up, he'd see that guy. He wants to be like him. And he organized his entire day that he'd only sleep 6 hours, and he'd always say, I want to maximize the amount of time I have to go to school, to exercise, to go to work, go to the gym, etc. So he's always working out, maximizing all his time.
Can I reverse this video? Come out with a video that says, what even is femininity? Where I hammer home how men that can cross-dress as women can do everything that women do, and being a woman is a performance. Is that acceptable? Is that equitable?
You can show feminine traits.
Well, I'm pretty sure he would agree, because then he would move on to like, oh, well, there are so many girls that worry about they're not skinny enough, or this, that, or the other, or they have body dysmorphia, or bitty.
Why does this guy want to talk for women? Can't they do it themselves?
He's a feminist. He's a feminist.
Yeah, but who gives a shit?
I think the main thing.
Why is he mansplaining feminism to
boys?
us?
I think it's like feminine boys is what he's like mostly focused on, I guess.
I think he's femsplaining nothing. He's trying to talk about masculinity. We're like, dude, what are you on about?
Look, you want to be divergent from the biological matrix, that's perfectly fine. Again, don't try and tear down every other organism around you that's trying to achieve their biological goal and objective of reproducing and having that kind of thing. That's what the whole point is. That these people need to be forced at gunpoint, no, I'm just kidding, to take a biology class or to take a class and start understanding how to relate concepts from animals and humans and psychology together, instead of just thinking about how everything is a fucking construct that was invented 20 years ago. Or like, oh yeah, everything that we know is a lie. Actually, this is all invented by people that were just trying to oppress people. Like, enough of that. And now start asking yourself why these things were at the given time that they were in. Because context destroys all of these arguments. What's the context in 2020 where anybody is trying to stop anybody from doing anything? Aside from fucking trying to get pedos off the internet, where is the negative, oppressive society? Everybody's free to do a whole bunch of shit. You have people on Twitch doing rails of cocaine, and then you have people that are getting banned off of Twitch for having an opinion that's total nonsense. You have people on Yelp trying to find racists at restaurants owned by racists. Like, this society that we live in doesn't exist in your mind. The society you think we live in doesn't exist in reality. So something needs to change. And I shudder to think that reality would be more like this guy's mind because it's inconsistent and illogical. And thank God, which is a funny thing to say, that there seems to be an objectivity that runs through reality. There seems to be something independent of what we personally feel. Our little blip of existence isn't nearly as solid and consistent as the world around us.
I was about to make a comment on the fashion of our times, how every decade has a different style, depending on where you are in the world and what they're trying to style. And, you know, dresses are this length and this height throughout the years. And that's just fashion. That's just appearances. It's not...
I like how people always, sorry to interrupt, but I like how people go to Victorian, like when people had a non-permissive society, and they don't think like, hey, where did that society evolve from? Well, it evolved from a bunch of naked people. It evolved from a bunch of people wearing furs. It evolved from a bunch of savages. All of us. So then we overdid it, and then now we're adjusting back, and now we're overdoing it in the opposite direction. Now we're trying to turn the pageantry and the societal norm to be completely random, so that, I don't know, it's hard to have any kind of rules, I guess. If you just kind of make it so that everything is a social construct and nothing is solid, then I don't know. How can you fight for anything?
Thankfully, it's
not. How can you fight for? How can you defend yourself when you're standing in quicksand?
Well, thankfully, it's not affecting the law or certain rules in society, so that, you know, people can still be as free as they want. But you're not are forced to do certain things. You're not forced, unless you're in Canada, you're forced to say certain words. But you know, you still dress as a tomboy or whatever you like. You can do whatever you want in terms of clothing and appearance. Obviously, there are some restaurants that have dress codes. So, yeah,
I feel like they want to equivocate somebody in a suit that is trying to be professional, speaking without curse words, or maybe they're using less contractions, and they're trying to be really professional and have a formalism to it. And they're like, I don't know, guys, that's kind of a social construct. Why don't we just all wear clown makeup? I'm going to wear a thong. You wear bondage gear. Let's have a real office discussion. It's like that because human beings dress up, and we create contexts for us to embrace parts of ourselves. And that, to me, is what culture was built around. We have drag shows, and you go to the drag show, you pay to get in to support them, and you go and you watch it, and you enjoy it. Now, people criticizing you, that's not civilization in general. That's not how the world works. That is criticism. And everybody's constantly judging each other and criticizing each other for actions. Whether that's valid or not is completely contextual. But this idea that we're going to get to some utopian point in society where everybody's going to agree and everybody's going to have the same view, and it's all going to be like, man, let's just feel it out. Social constructs. Let's do this. That's never going to happen. That is a weak position to have. And trying to indoctrinate a bunch of people into that, I think, is indoctrinating people into weakness. I think that it's much better to be a free thinker and go, I see and understand why we have these things. We are allowing masculinity and manhood to exist. Why? Because it's productive for our society. Why? Because inside the urges of every person lies a biological mandate, and how we deal with that as individuals between each other, that's social order. They
So
want to
what you're
destroy
saying is
social order by making it all social constructs instead of saying, oh, we built these social constructs to deal with the innate biological way that we are. That's the whole point. They're trying to take a dam, break it open, and go, nature never intended there to be a dam. It's all a river. Well, we did that so that we wouldn't flood the city with all sorts of things that would make it so that civilization wouldn't be able to operate.
So what you're saying is, Glib, that society should be aligned along the lines of the lobsters.
The lobsters was a bad metaphor.
Oh God, I just saw the video suggestion from Fairy Joker in the chat. It's Ellie's steak sandwich from Downward Thrust. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh!
I
that
can't
sounds
believe he did it.
amazing.
Oh my!
I think people's pornographic interests also are a counter argument for this idea that civilization. You know what I mean? So all this tomboy this and femboy hooters that. You know what I mean? I don't see it. I see people being weirdos more than ever now because we have the permissive internet society that has sort of driven everything. So if you want to be cloistered and say I don't accept that, then these people are like, you're such a bigot. You're such a bit. Why do you want to have like a relationship like it's 1950? It's not even the current year anymore. So that's what I want. Are you saying I can't have what I want? If that's what you want. Because the same argument that says you can't have this or this is unacceptable because it does this is the exact same argument of the Puritans who are saying can't allow gay marriage because that'll lead to this. So it's a slippery slope argument on both sides. And I'm like, well, where's the even ground? That's what we need.
Glib, I think your TEDx talk time is almost up. I think we probably should get back to the video.
Okay.
Now let's kill this thing real quick.
Joe Crazy, something, anything. This is less than bare bones. I know. Mark in 3D. Remember to vote Glib and Shiny 2024. Yeah.
I'm Glib's running mate.
for the United States of America and the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Fit, literally. I didn't actually get fit until I purchased a workout guide designed by and presumably for cis women, and I'd be doing it to serve.
What?
I don't care.
I mean, good for you.
I don't care.
And you look fantastic.
Yes, he looks gorgeous.
Damn. Nice hip to waist ratio, bro. You got a thigh gap going on?
Oh my God.
Okay, that's
social construct.
Okay.
And to be honest, this guy looks like he's a skinny shit like me. I don't.
All right.
Like I don't think he's that well built. He just doesn't have any muscle on him.
I mean, it's beautiful.
5 ways to tighten up your boy pussy.
I'm glad that he's getting exercise. I don't care how he gets it. I'm just glad he gets it. Okay.
Oh my God, it's just hilarious though. It's funny.
Does he wear a leotard when he does it? I want to know that. That's the only thing I want.
This is what I would consider to be. It's not autogynephilia, but it's like this worship of women or something. It's absolutely insane. You know what I mean? It's like I like women. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to go and look at their exercise stuff for my body, right? Because I don't have the same parts. Shouldn't I be focused on my stuff? And I just find it interesting because that again goes back to what I was saying about denial of the biological situation. It's like accept that this is this and this is this. That's all that it is. It's not trying to offend you. But reality is not trying to offend you. Reality is not out to get you, and society isn't out to get you either because it's your fear of it isn't going to change anything. It just is. You know what I mean? Fire doesn't burn to burn you. It burns because something is on fire. You know what I mean? There's a cause. So I think that people need to recognize that and just accept that and not be offended that nature itself is saying something contrary to your social construct theory.
All right. Let's go through some super chats we got. I hope he's not going to promote his exercise routine at the end of his video, but okay. Joe Crazy, this loser, it's time for my spin class. Oh, okay. Well, maybe he's doing spin class. I don't know. Good for him.
You know, I was recently replaying Star Wars Battlefront 2 just because people are talking about cis in the chat now. So I heard because you know they have those lines like the cis have gained a command post. The
CIS. Oh,
the CIS has finally because the ship has been destroyed or something like that. So like because CIS means Confederation of Independent Systems, and that was in like 2005 before the the word cis was invented.
Yeah.
To describe people who weren't trans.
Yeah. Like we needed to invent a word to describe things which already are. It's like, okay, I guess. Okay, Rocky Desert Flower. I like how your icons make a rainbow. BB is red, Glib is orange, Dunn is green, Shiny is blue, and I am Shepherd. I don't know. That doesn't make a rainbow.
Shepherd is a color.
Yeah, it's the whole icon. It's his face.
I don't know.
So obviously, the rainbow song obviously goes red and orange and green and blue and shepherd. That's how all rainbows are.
Alrighty.
So if I didn't recommend the same to all of you, it's what I changed my mind about. So stop trying to prescribe the behaviors of others based on your personal notions of gender. Because if you're the kind of person who experiences apoplectic rage at the thought of someone else expressing their gender identity in a way that you find inconsolably discordant with your way of life, even though the other person has no power or influence over you, then may I submit, they are not the ones with the psychosis. You are.
What's psychosis, you knob? What the hell are you talking about?
I love that pause. I love that pause.
Let's just play it. Let's let it play. I think he's probably done by this point.
He's got to be.
Does he even know what psychosis is? Does he think Ben Shapiro getting slightly perturbed makes him psychotic? Oh my!
He just doesn't believe that. He believes that trans people is a mental illness, or at least like it has elements of. At least like
gender dysphoria.
Gender dysphoria is a mental illness.
I wouldn't even
like being trans is related to a quirk of the brain. It's not like an imbalance of the chemistry in the brain. That's what he believes.
I wouldn't even, if you're referencing Ben, I wouldn't even call him antisocial. He's so monotone, and then he gets a little excited here and there.
Really fast.
He talks really quick. That's it. Yeah, he's very energetic. That's it. He's not psychotic.
He's a very talented debater in terms of he has like good methods of like proving his point.
Yeah,
so
his mind is operating very quickly.
He makes for you is up to you, but
he doesn't have time.
He does have skill in terms of debate.
He doesn't put his energy into being emotional or saying silly things. Maybe, I don't know, he has more off the cuff videos for his listeners that whatever they pay premium to see that, but he's pretty rational, pretty level-headed. I just hate it. I absolutely hate it when people throw around psychological terms as if it's like they know what they actually studied some psych and they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I have.
He's designing this whole video around like the idea of his idea of the anti-feminist. He's like, you've got the psychosis.
My guest over here. My guest over here has something that she wants to add. By the way, yeah, tell them what you just told me. Come here and say that.
My gaydar is going off when I look at this guy.
Yeah, we've established that. We established that.
Was she watching where he does female exercise routines?
Yeah, she's watching the Smudcast.
Okay,
she's got the YouTube going.
All right.
So I just thought that was funny because she was asking me. She's like, "Is he gay?" I was like, "I don't know." But that's what I'm saying is that all of this like simping personality thing isn't helpful. Obviously, it's not attractive.
Is it so hard to go to the dictionary and say the word bread and then read all the definitions and then work with one and then show breads in film and say, what even is bread according to cinema? Like, would that have been so hard?
Let's look at bread representation in cinema.
It would have been pretty basic. Why couldn't you have done that?
If you look over here in this film, bread is always in scenes that conveys staleness.
He's done? We're done. Okay.
He's done. Message coming in. Patching it through.
Script consultant? Oh my god. All right. Well,
you should be taken out back and shot.
Whew.
Scripted this?
Yeah, well, I'm glad he has an editor, so that's nice. Yeah, no, it's something.
It's a shame they couldn't edit this video out of existence.
It's like, sir, can you have a point in any of this anything script you made and edited, please? I can't see it. Okay.
At no point in your random incoherent response were you even close to anything resembling a rational thought.
I'm just surprised he went from asking a question to bashing anti-feminists. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Just stop it.
I wanted to know what even is masculinity. I don't know.
I still don't.
I'm stuck here.
Cinema hasn't taught me a damn thing aside from there's one black man in five movies that have different roles. It's like, thanks. Yeah, that's what stories are. Actors play different roles in different stories. It's true. Thank you. What are you talking about?
He should have just made a Chiwetel Ejiofor, or however you pronounce his name. He should have just made a review of him, because all of us like him. Yeah. We probably would have enjoyed that video.
Make a 5-minute video about him.
Ejiofor is awesome, and he has amazing range.
Yeah.
Look at how good his acting is. I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
Best part of the video. Everybody go watch anything with him in it.
Yeah.
Especially, like, apparently, like, the best ones are, like, 12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I need to watch that, but apparently, like, he's really good in it, and you also get Michael Fassbender playing a complete psychopath.
I think he's in Hotel Rwanda with Don Cheadle, and I really, really like that one. Maybe I'm misremembering that. Thought he was.
So anyway, whenever we have a character or a person who does not define a role or comes to the conclusion that the thing does not exist, this is a typical thing in postmodernism, where they have a term. They always sort of, they never point directly at the definition. They sort of just reference it in film or media or a philosopher quote. They never actually zero in to get a solid understanding, then attack that solid understanding. He just started rambling and referenced film because of a character he liked. So this is a very typical tactic. I've seen it not so much in material dialectic, but it's been used before. So that something which is a social construct doesn't exist, therefore it's up in the air. It's like, no. Yes, it doesn't.
Or it doesn't matter.
It's so nebulous you can't narrow it down, kind of like what a Mary Sue is, even though there's plenty of examples and definitions over the years. And yes, it's still nebulous, but you have to actually get all that gas and then force it into a canister and then spit it out onto your text and write it out. You still have to do that. So this was a waste of time for everyone involved, aside from us who had a great time watching it, because of course we do. That's why we do these things. But anyway,
I want to see what this response to this video has been. Please tell me it's not positive. And of course, the video is positive. It's 12,000 likes to only 300 dislikes.
Well, no one watches this crap, so that has a
lot of people eat this up.
Well, again, people with thinking brains don't bother. They just sort of sit back and drink the Kool-Aid. Oh, feminism is great, guys. Feminism is wonderful, and they just keep watching. So anyway,
kind of wish they would drink the poisoned Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Anyway, let's figure out what we're going to do on the weekend. It's coming up soon. And Glib, you want to do what is it? A chat response where we just sit back, talk about whatever we like, and chat will try to influence us to cover videos or content or websites or images or memes or whatever they like. That sounds like fun. We could do that for sure. So
yeah, at your discretion, Smud. Cool. That would be just like a nice little fun thing to do. As an aside, and we could play games or something. But I was just kind of listening for a second, and something that the my girl here was saying is that she heard so much about toxic masculinity that when I asked her what the answer to this question is, because someone in chat mentioned that, she had like trouble doing it because she's heard so much about toxic masculinity that it's hard to answer that question. Like, what actually is masculinity? Because and I think that the poisoning the well thing that's happening in our discourse is what I'm frustrated at, because the idea of a gentleman or a noble guy or a good man or whatever has sort of been poisoned by these people that are saying this trait's bad, this is this, men are like this, and it's like it creates this dialectic that's really a war between the sexes, and I never really wanted to buy into that. I was like, that seems like a waste of our lifetime, but I just feel like that this is another person that is unable to answer the question, because that would actually start to reveal that there are these differences and there are things that are good about this and bad about this person. And you would have to come out with a weighted, measured point of view. And that goes against what this guy is probably trying to manifest as his feminism.
Well, it's the same with toxic masculinity as a word, as a misnomer. You're just making an excuse to bash men. If you haven't defined what is toxic and what is masculine, you can't have the same term be modified. So that's what all it is. It's like, oh, men do this when they're around women. It's like, well, jerks do many things around women because they're not good at talking to women, or they say silly things. But that's everyone. It's not just men. So men are just more aggressive about it because we have 20 times more testosterone than women, and we're horny, and we don't know what to do. We're like, oh, I have to learn to talk to girls. Oh, my God, it takes so much time, and I have to be smooth, and I have to be sophisticated, and have a job, and have a car, and have a house. And yeah, that's all normal life stuff, sir. That's how it goes. So I don't like these open-ended terms that aren't defined well. And if the conclusion is, it doesn't exist, then it's like, well, why are we talking about it? What's the point? So
to say it doesn't exist.
It's a social construct. Oh, boy. Well, if it's a social construct, who constructed it? Where did it come from? Can you define the terms in the social construct? It's not this big chalkboard where you just do whatever you like. There's examples. Can you please show us the examples and what they mean? So
the main problem that it seems that they run into over again is they don't define their terms. They don't let us know, like, okay, what am I arguing for? It's just generalized.
I mean, that is a problem. It is not. I mean, there are a lot more problems.
Well,
it's a consistent problem.
We saw with the Goldman, he defined his own from. I don't know why they keep using Wikipedia all the time, but the definition of Wikipedia of the Mary Sue. And he only used 3 of the 5 terms there. Then he invented 2 more. And then he just winged it as he was going through his 2.5-hour spiel. And it was just like, dude, do you even have Google? Like, can you do basic searches? And he didn't bother. He just kept running with his term. And he defined it, which is better than most people. But he's missing, like, decades of references to fan fiction and examples of Mary Sue's and all throughout stories. So, it's just they either don't define the term, they redefine the term, or they reinvent the term, and it just drives me nuts. And you can't have a discussion with these people because their minds are already made up because they've discovered something. Oh, the Mary Sue is not Ray because I created a brand new term for Mary Sue. It's like, oh, okay, that's not how arguments work, sir. You don't get to reinvent words and waste everyone's time.
That's why they use the term woke, because they're awake to the ideas
to
of
throwing away the dictionary. Okay.
Really? I thought it was because they were sleepy.
I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
It's their version of being red-pilled, I assume. So anyway. Okay, guys, we'll figure it out after the stream because I don't want to take up anyone's time. There's lots of time in the evening for you guys to go to bed and get a snack or whatever you do. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening on the weekend and when we're going to do that. So if you guys want to put suggestions in the comments after this video is done baking, go right ahead. Any recommendations are great. You could leave in the suggestions as well. I don't mind that in the suggestions channel of the Smud Boy Discord. Go right ahead. So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate Glib and BB and Dunn and Shiny as always. You guys make this fun as always. So that
was good.
Yeah. Well, I thought he'd be, because again, I really liked the previous video we covered with him, which was one of my favorites. So it was so crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was hilarious. It was one of the best things we've ever done.
Yeah, and this one was just like, come on, sir. Get to a point.
Have a point.
Yeah. All right.
It's like his friggin' Godzilla movie where he covers like 20 movies in 30 minutes, and it's just like.
Here's an idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more easy to view videos to watch.
Yeah. All righty, gentlemen. Good evening, good afternoon, and take yourself out of here.